Hey guys, how are you all? Welcome back to my channel. Today viewer will see what if Naruto uses Raikiri Chunin exams. If you enjoy then please like, share and do comments. Well, let's get on with it. A child no more than 6 was desperately running down the streets of Konohagakure no Sato, the village hidden in the leaves, breathing heavily. Why was he running, you ask? Well, this child was a little special. He was Uzumaki Naruto Jinchuriki, the greatest demon ever to walk the world. The Kyuubi no Yuko that attacked the village 6 years ago and caused massive destruction, killing many shinobi and civilians in the process, and it wasn't until Konoha's greatest hero and the strongest ninja in the village, the Yondaime Hokage Minato Namikaze, sacrificed himself to seal the Kyuubi inside his newborn son Naruto. Sadly, few knew of his heritage, and the villagers and most of the shinobi of the village saw Naruto as the Kyuubi reincarnate and not the one actually holding it back. Therefore he was hated, beaten, spit upon and lonely, since no one wanted to talk to him or help him for that matter. The young boy made a sharp turn to the left in order to shake the villagers currently pursuing the young child while screaming things like, "Kill the demon brat, time to end what the fourth started," and the occasional, "I'm gonna feed you to my pigs after I've sliced you up." Now the fourth had hoped that the villagers would see Naruto as a hero, which they quite obviously didn't. The kid came to a stop as he came to a dead end. Seeing no way out, he turned and would have run back into the street were it not for the mob that had cut him off from his only escape route. One of the shinobi that occasionally joined the mobs threw a shuriken that embedded itself in the poor boy's chest and sent him plummeting to the ground coughing up blood. The villagers then closed in on him and with glee stabbed him, punched him, kicked him, and generally tried to create as much physical damage as possible on the young child. Said young child just cried and repeatedly whispered, "Why are you doing this? What did I ever do to you? I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry." At that very instant the sound of 1,000 angry chirping birds was heard along with a cry of Raikiri, lightning cutter, and then several dull thuds as some of the villagers fell, dead even before they hit the ground. In front of Naruto stood a tall man clad in a full Anbu getup with a dog mask and gravity-defying silver hair. His hand was crackling with electricity and one of his eyes were crimson red with 3 swirling tomos in it. By order of the Sandaime Hokage, all of you are under arrest. Anbu, get them. Suddenly 10 masked cloaked persons appeared and knocked out the people and then shined, body flicker, away leaving only the boy and the dog masked Anbu. The man kneeled down and picked up Naruto as he silently spoke. "Arigato Inu-san." While he couldn't see it, he could feel the man smile at him. "It's okay Naruto, no one is going to hurt you anymore." His voice was filled with confidence and reassurance and Naruto felt that he could trust the man. "So, what happens now?" he asked in his tiny voice. The man's smile seemed to widen as he spoke his next words, the words that would forever change Naruto's life. "First I'm gonna take you to a hospital and make sure they treat you, then I'm gonna head to the Hokage and then I'm gonna request that I be allowed to adopt you." Naruto's eyes widened so much they looked like they were gonna pop out of his skull. "Say seriously?" he asked shakily. "You want to adopt me?" He was really hoping that the man spoke the truth. If he lied, Naruto wouldn't be able to handle the disappointment. "Of course," the man answered happily. "After all, that's what big brothers do, right Naruto-kun?" the man said as he moved his mask revealing his face to the boy. Naruto's face lit up in recognition. "Kakashi Nissan." He shouted happily and would have moved to glomp the older man had his body not been racked with wounds. Alright, let's get you to the hospital before you kill yourself," he said with a sigh. He already knew this was gonna be one hell of a hassle. After dropping Naruto off at the hospital and promising them untold amounts of pain should they refuse to treat him right, Kakashi made his way to the Hokage's office and marched right on through, ignoring the secretary and kicking in the office doors as he slammed his hands onto the Hokage's desk. "Hokage-sama, I want to adopt Naruto. He's suffered way too much already and as his father's student I should be more than qualified for the task," he nearly shouted into the older man's face. He was half expecting to be turned down since many of the Junin in the village had tried to adopt Naruto just to get shot down by Danzo and the despicable civilian council. Therefore the Sandaime Hokage Hiruzen Sarutobi's answer were quite unexpected. "Very well, I already have the adoption papers ready for you, all you need to do is sign them and we're good to go." "Listen, I don't care what the council say." "Wait, what? I thought the council refused to let Naruto get adopted?" Kakashi stated, surprised. The third smiled knowingly. Naruto-kun is like a grandson to me, and I have let this village step on him, Minato's last wish, and myself long enough. Worry not about the council, I'll deal with those fools. They shall learn why I am called the Shinobi no Kami. The old man stated as a fire that had long been thought doused, burned brightly in his eyes. Kakashi smiled. It seemed that they finally had their Hokage back. 3 years later, Naruto panted heavily as he stared down the group of shadow clones he was currently sparring in taijutsu with. To his left 100 clones were practicing advanced chakra control, and to his right 100 additional shadow clones were practicing the katas associated with his Chikuto, straight single-edged sword without guard. The same kind as Sasuke uses in Shippuden. His observations was cut short as the 10 shadow clones in front of him spread out to cover all sides and then charged at him, some with their fists poised and ready to crack open his skull, while others had kunai and 2 of them had even drawn their Chikuto. The first one came from the left and tried to bash in Naruto's skull, but he tilted back and grabbed the outstretched arm and then in one deft move cut the clone in 2 with his sword just as 3 others closed in. Naruto quickly dropped to the ground and kicked 2 of them far up in the air. He then sweep-kicked the last clone's feet out from under him. Naruto quickly got on his feet and punched the still-falling clone hard in the stomach. Not missing a beat, he grabbed the 2 airborne clones by their ankles and smashed them into the ground, making them disappear, as well as the one he had punched square in the stomach. The last 6 charged from the front, weapons drawn. Naruto dropped low and in a blur flashed through the hand seals, sucking in wind as he called out his technique. Kaden. Gokakyu no Jutsu. An enormous fireball erupted from his mouth and connected with the group of clones, easily destroying them. With a sigh, he fell on his ass trying to catch his breath. He had been sparring with the shadow clones for hours, and even with his chakra reserves, the Kaden Gokakyu no Jutsu cost him a lot of chakra. He was after all only 9, and for a 9-year-old, being able to do an elemental jutsu as well as being able to spar for hours were quite impressive. He was even aware of his 3 affinities: wind, lightning and fire. He had indeed come quite a long way since Kakashi Nisan had adopted him, he mused. Right now he was home alone as Kakashi was on another mission. This time it was an S rank, and along with a squad of the best Anbu in Konoha he had left about a week ago. Still, Naruto didn't get lonely since the other Chunin would come train with him. He especially liked training with Maida Guy and his apprentice, who was a year older than Naruto. Rock Lee. Him and Lee had instantly become friends and helped each other when they learned Goken, strong fist, from Guy. Naruto had no doubt that Lee could become a great ninja only with taijutsu. He also enjoyed training with Asuma. The man was skilled and helped him with his wind manipulation. He had even taught Naruto how to channel his wind chakra into his sword, since it was made of a material that could be used to enhance the chakra channeled through it. He preferred this over his lightning channeling as the wind chakra was invisible, making it easy to catch the opponent off guard. He was brought out of his musings as his skull felt like it was gonna crack. Typical. Of course his clones had to dispel all at the same freaking time. And they did it just so that he'd have a headache, damn bastards. He groaned as he willed his worn-out body to move as he got his stuff and headed home. He caught sight of himself in the mirror of one of the shops in the business district and liked what he saw. About a year after he had been adopted by Kaka, Nisan III had called Kakashi and Naruto to the Hokage Tower, and there's something amazing had happened. Flashback. Kakashi and Naruto walked into the office of the strongest man in Konoha as he sat with a contemplative look on his face. He snapped himself out of it and asked them to take a seat. Once they were seated, the old man begun. Naruto, what I am about to tell you is an S-class secret that must not leave this room. His voice was serious, but his mask of seriousness fell at Naruto's next words. Are you talking about the Kyuubi, old man? 'Cause I already know about it, and I even met it a few months ago. Pleasant fellow when you get past all the death threats, he said as if they were discussing the weather. The third sweat dropped at that. I see. Then moving on, I believe it's time you know about your parents, Naruto-kun. This caught his attention completely. He knew next to nothing about his parents, only that they were great ninjas. Your mother's name was Kushina Uzumaki, also known as the Red Death. One of the greatest kenjutsu specialists ever to grace the earth, and a fearsome woman. He said as he showed Naruto a picture of a woman with long beautiful red hair and violet eyes smiling at the camera with a hand on her belly that showed clear signs of pregnancy. As for your father, Naruto, your father's name was Minato Namikaze. The third looked at Naruto for a reaction as tears fell from the young boy's eyes. My father was the fourth Hokage. That's so cool, he exclaimed happily. The third was slack-jawed. So you don't hate him for sealing the Kyuubi inside you? Nope, Naruto said with his trademark grin. I know he had a good reason for doing so, besides I'm too awesome to bear grudges. Both the third and Kakashi chuckled at that. Now Naruto-kun, the reason why you were never told was that your father still has enemies, especially in Iwa, Rock. Naruto nodded his understanding as the third continued. Now for your inheritance. Your mother left the katas for her kenjutsu style as well as her chikudo, Tenza Zanjetsu. No, this is not gonna be a Bleach X over. The name is just cool, so I chose it. Cool, but old man, what happened to my mom? The third sighed. She died protecting you from an attack by the Kyuubi after Minato had sealed half its chakra, so you see you were loved by both your parents. Naruto smiled and wiped away some tears before they fell. He then examined the sword and was awestruck by its beauty. The sword was a masterpiece. The scabbard was black with red and white symbols resembling flames reaching from the tip all the way up to the handle, which were white with the same pattern only with red and black flames. Both the sword and the handle was longer than a normal chikudo, though not by much. It also lacked a guard, something the old man told him was common for a chikudo. The blade itself had a beautiful unscarred silver color, making it look like it was never used. He frowned. Hey old man? It feels like there's something special about the metal, but I don't really know what. Here Kakashi decided to speak up. It's a special brand of metal that amplifies the power of the chakra affinity you channel into it. Something I'll teach you later. It also has the power to cut through most regular metal like a knife through butter. Naruto looked at the blade in awe. But how do you know that, Kakashi-Nisan? Kakashi looked like he was remembering something when he spoke. My father had a ninjutsu of the same metal. It earned him his name Konoha's White Fang, but it broke during the war since it wasn't as strong as Kushina's. It's quite a rare metal, so you'll probably never meet anyone with a weapon like it. Here the old man started again. Along with the Kyuubi's seal, Minato also placed a seal on you that changed your physical appearance, but I believe it is time to end it now. Flashback end. And change he did. Before he had due to malnutrition been smaller than most kids his age, but that wasn't the case now. He stood almost a head higher than all of his peers. The only one coming close to him was Sasuke by half a head. His body had become muscled due to both the seal getting removed and because of his training. He had lost the baby fat and he were now a bit more chiseled, but it was his face that had changed the most. The whisker-like marks on his cheeks had grown longer and had moved. Now they started at his collarbone and went all the way up and stopped just as they reached his face. His face was devoid of all baby fat and were more chiseled as his muscles were. His eyes had changed dramatically, or at least one of them had. His left eye were still the beautiful ocean blue that made it look like a sapphire, but his right had become green. A beautiful azure green that had the same depth as his other eye. It looked like someone had taken two beautiful gems and stuck them into his face. His hair, however, was the thing that had changed the most. It was now orange, a warm orange color that the third had said were because of his mother being a redhead and his father being a blonde, thus red plus yellow equals orange. Think Ichigo's hair color. It had white highlights and streaks of blonde going through it. He had let his hair grow out and therefore it now reached his mid-back. It was tied in a low ponytail. His bangs were now grown out to the collarbone and were crimson in color due to the Kyuubi. It made his hair look like a fire slowly freezing because of the white highlights. It now spiked downwards instead of upward, but he made sure to keep the front hair in check so that it didn't go into his eyes. All in all, he looked quite handsome, especially since Kakashi had knocked some reason into him and his wardrobe. He now wore dark blue or black, but all in the same Anbu style. Shaking himself from his musings, he went home and prepared dinner. Little did he know that in the hours to come he would inherit power so great that it hadn't been seen since Uchiha Madara. Later that night, Naruto had just cleared the table and was preparing for bed when an Anbu appeared in front of him. Hitaki Naruto, Hokage-sama requests your presence in his office immediately. After the message was delivered, the Anbu shunshined, body flicker, away, leaving Naruto alone. He quickly closed off the house and shunshined to the tower. He was greeted with a scene that held an atmosphere of death. The third looked up, his eyes filled with sadness as he spoke. Ah, Naruto-kun, good you're here. This is about you, my child. The boy looked around. In the corner stood a tall man with long white hair in a ridiculous outfit with sadness painted all over his face. Next to him stood a beautiful blonde woman who looked to be 25 in a rather unassuming. If you looked away from the kimono-style blouse that eagerly showed off her cleavage, of course attire with a grass-green robe with the kanji for gamble on the back and a huge bust, and next to her a dark-haired lady with a small pig in her arms. They all looked at him wide-eyed at his appearance, and a faint blush made its way on the two women's faces. "Yo, old man, so what can I do for you? You know you better have a good reason for calling me so late." Hiruzen smiled sadly and then spoke, "Naruto-kun. Kakashi's team just came back from their S-rank mission. I'm so sorry, Naruto. He didn't make it. Kakashi is gone." Naruto's eyes widened as tears started forming in his eyes. "No, he wouldn't just leave me like that. He wouldn't." Naruto fell to his knees as he sobbed, unable to stop the steady flow of tears that racked his body. After what seemed like hours, he finally got himself together. The third spoke, "Naruto, while Kakashi didn't make it, something of his did," he said as he withdrew a scroll. "This is Kakashi's will, and a scroll containing his two prized jutsu, the Chidori and the Raikiri, both of which are for you, and in his will he has one last present for you." Naruto looked at him in confusion as he gripped the scroll tightly. "He has decided that you should be the one to receive his dojutsu. He has given you his Sharingan." Naruto's eyes widened when he heard that. Kakashi Nisan's Sharingan? Indeed, apparently Uchiha Shisui, one of Kakashi's best friends, went traitor on the mission and Kakashi had to kill him. If what I've read is true, he awakened the second stage of the Sharingan, the Mangekyo Sharingan, because of this. In some files I found way back when, I read about the Uchiha's history and their Kekkei Genkei, and after snooping around I found information about both the Mangekyo Sharingan and the extremely powerful Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. You see, while the Mangekyo Sharingan is powerful, it leads the user to blindness each time it is used. Furthermore, to awaken it one must slay a person precious to you. But by taking a sibling's Mangekyo Sharingan you can forever avoid the blindness. Shisui was the brother of Uchiha Obito, the one whom Kakashi received his Sharingan from. I have also found out that before they left the village, Shisui killed his best friend an Aburame named Mibiki and awoke his Mangekyo Sharingan. Naruto, I want you to get Kakashi's eye implanted, and then we'll implant both of Shisui's eyes into your one eye. I don't know what'll happen, but it might just give you an even greater power than that of the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. This woman," he gestured towards the beautiful blonde, "is my old student Senju Tsunade of the Sannin, and a medical genius, and she has agreed to do the surgery so that you'll be able to get a Sharingan that drains as little chakra as an Uchiha's and also will be able to turn it off." He bowed to her, "Arigato Tsunade-sama." She blushed and hurriedly waved him off. It's fine. Prepare yourself, Naruto, I'll commence the surgery tomorrow." He nodded and after saying goodbye headed home. He could tell that this were gonna be a long week, but at least that pretty woman Tsunade would be there, he thought with a smirk. Fuinjutsu for advanced users, books and scrolls. It's already been 6 years, huh? Naruto thought as he gazed at the full moon. It had indeed been 6 years since he had received Kakashi's eye, and a lot had happened in those 6 years. When he had been 10, Uchiha Itachi had slaughtered all of his clan and had then left Konoha, not being heard from since. His skills had also rapidly grown, easily making him the strongest genin in Konoha even without his Sharingan. His taijutsu was amazing, something easily acquired when you spend a lot of your childhood with Saiko Bushibrao Jr. and Sr. His kenjutsu was also ridiculously great, and he could easily match Azuki Yugo and Hayate Gecko, the two greatest swordsmen in the village, in a sword fight. His genjutsu was also excellent thanks to his Sharingan. Without it he knew he would be completely hopeless in this area. His ninjutsu was his greatest strength along with his kenjutsu. He had become amazing in this area, having several high-level jutsu. His stamina and chakra capacity had only grown, making him an almost unending pool of energy, perfect for the highly consummate techniques of the evolved Sharingan. His natural speed and strength was amazing, especially his speed was breathtaking. Even his hand seal speed had grown rapidly. All of this was thanks to the wonder of the Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, Shadow Clone Jutsu, the first technique Kakashi had taught him when he had at first gotten adopted. He had also studied a lot in Fuinjutsu and had made a seal he was quite proud of. This seal prevented any Sharingan from copying his jutsu unless he allowed it, meaning he was the only wielder of the Chidori, 1000 birds, and its more powerful version Raikiri, Lightning Cutter. He had also managed to master the principles of lightning manipulation, the ability to invoke the techniques without needing seals, and develop a number of other lightning release jutsu. most of which are derived from the Chidori. He had also grown physically, standing at 170 centimeters. He had kept his hair the same length as to not have it getting in the way during a fight. His hair also looked the same, only being even spikier and the different colors becoming even stronger than before. His face was even more chiseled and his body had become muscled, and he now had a six-pack. Not that he had aimed to get one. Really, not at all. He was now a regular heartbreaker, especially with the older women of the village. He wore a black sleeveless shirt showing off his arms. He had a light vest over the shirt, and he wore the standard Anbu-style pants only in a dark blue color and with black shinobi sandals. The vest were black with gold trim. He also wore two fingerless gloves in blue and green, a homage to his unusual eye colors. He also wore a band over his right eye, or his Sharingan eye as he called it. When the third had asked him about this due to the fact that he could turn the Sharingan on and off at will, courtesy of Tsunade's handiwork, he had said it was as a tribute to his dead big brother figure. The band looked like Kakashi's, only without the Konoha Hite ite, since he wasn't an official ninja yet. His Chikuto was as always hanging behind him, fastened to his shinobi-style belt. It hangs in the same fashion as Sasuke's does in Shippuden. The thing he had grown most in, however, was the use of his PEMS. Perfect Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, as the old man had dubbed it, as it seemed the fusing of three Mangekyo Sharingan in one eye had created a Sharingan even stronger than the EMS. He normally just called it the perfect Sharingan. He had mastered all the techniques possible. Amaterasu, Tsukuyomi, Susanoo, Kamui, hell, he even had a good idea of how to use Izanagi should the need arise. Something completely extraordinary was the fact that he had developed a new Kekkei Genkei by adding shape manipulation to Amaterasu's flames, thereby creating blaze release. He also had a mutual agreement with the Kyuubi. He had changed his mindscape and would regularly provide the fox with vixens, food and other stuff. In return, the fox would lend him some chakra should the need ever arise. All in all, this meant Naruto could match most Jonin without his Sharingan and easily overpower any and all Jonin with his Sharingan active. He had also inherited some of Kakashi's habits. One was reading, though he didn't read smut like Kakashi did. While he wasn't always seriously late, whenever he screwed up he would make up an extremely lousy excuse or simply blame someone else for his mistakes. He pulled himself from his musings as he remembered he would have to hurry up. Today they would be assigned teams. He has already passed the exam here, no Mizuki incident, and he aced it all. He got dressed and made his way to his kitchen, and after making breakfast headed to the academy. Standing at the entrance was Uchiha Sasuke, Shippuden clothes but without the Orochi team's bow tie belt thingy and without the sword. In this he uses chakra trench knives. Naruto and Sasuke were friends, or at least as friend-ish as you could be with an emo Avenger whose vocabulary consisted of HN. Still, with Naruto's cheerful but lazy attitude, he managed to befriend Sasuke quite easily, and they were tied for Rookie of the Year. They were like water and fire, complete opposites, yet they mixed without a problem. Morning, Sasuke. Ready for another thrilling day of fangirl dodging? Sasuke cringed at the mentioning of his and Naruto's fanbase of annoying girls. Man, it would be so cool if we could be on the same team. Naruto exclaimed as he reached into his vest pocket and withdrew a book titled Fuinjutsu for Advanced Users. With practiced ease he found the page he had reached and started reading on an advanced storage seal. As soon as they entered the classroom they were greeted with countless "Kaiya," "Sasuke-kun," and "I love you, Naruto-kun." Naruto shivered in fright as he and Sasuke quickly made their way to their usual table and sat down as far up against the window as possible as to prevent fangirls sitting with them. Unfortunately, Sasuke's number one fangirl Haruno Sakura managed to drop down right in the middle of them, effectively getting to sit by her precious Sasuke-kun. "Ohio, Sasuke-kun, you miss me?" she said, or more like shrieked with her loud voice. Sasuke tried as best he could to ignore her and stare into the wall beside him. Naruto was desperately trying not to laugh at his best friend's expense, until a pair of slender arms draped around his neck and someone pressed their chest against his back. "Morning, Naru-kun," Ino whispered into his ear. Naruto sunk deeply. "Morning, Ino-chan. How are you today?" he asked shakily. Just as she was about to answer, Iruka nearly kicked the door open and slammed his papers onto the desk. Once again, nobody really paid attention to him, much to his chagrin. "Alright, that's enough. Sit down and shut up." Iruka roared using his demon head no jutsu to its fullest, and instantly the class became quiet. Thank you. Now I want you all to know that I'm proud of you. You're all talented and have graduated with a combined score of the highest class of all time, something you should be proud of. Now go forth and become this generation's greatest shinobi, he said with a great amount of pride in his voice. Alright, listen up, the teams will be as following. Team 10 will consist of Nara Shikamaru, Akamichi Choji and Yamanaka Ino. Your sensei will be Sarutobi Asuma. Troublesome. G Marg FFF. What? Then I don't get to be with Naruto-kun. Inside his head Naruto was making a little victory dance while at the same time thanking God for giving him Iruka-sensei. Team 9 is still in circulation from last year, so Team 8 will be Inazuka Kiba, Aburame Shino, Hyuga Hinata and Hitaki Naruto. Your sensei is Yuhi Kurenai. Alright, Roof. Affirmative. Hi. Huh? What? I wasn't sleeping, sensei, I swear. I was meditating. Naruto blurted out. BTW. In this FIC Hinata doesn't love Naruto. They have a really close brother and sister-like relationship. And Team 7 will be Uchiha Sasuke, Sai and Haruno Sakura. Yees. Sakura screamed. No. Sasuke yelled. Sai just sweat dropped. Your sensei will be Yamato. Good luck to you all, and make me proud. And with that he left the classroom, leaving the students to find their teams. This is so cool. Kiba exclaimed. We get to be with the one who's tied with Sasuke for Rookie of the Year. Naruto smiled. Seems like I already have a reputation to live up to, huh? Wonder what he would say if he knew I never use more than 25% of my full strength. And that's without the Sharingan. Hitaki-san, Kiba-san, Hinata-san, with your abilities combined with mine I believe we will become a tracking and locating unit extraordinary. Naruto and Kiba just stared at him wide-eyed. What? Is there something in my face? No, it's just, I don't ever think I've heard you talk that much in one sentence. Kiba nodded. I have never seen any reason to speak if not asked first, but we are now a team and must learn to communicate and cooperate effectively. Kiba, Naruto and Hinata smiled. Gotcha. They then proceeded to tell each other about themselves and their specialties. 5 minutes later a beautiful young woman with red eyes and long dark hair entered the classroom. Team 8, you're with me. The 4 teenagers followed the young woman out of the academy. Alright, first of all we need to get to know each other, so let's get something to eat and then tell about ourselves. Wahoo! Food, I like you already. Kiba exclaimed, half drooling. Roof. The rest of the team just sweat dropped, and with that they made their way to the local dango stand. They placed their orders and Naruto made a subtle genjutsu to make sure they would even take his order of food. After their food arrived they began. I'll go first. My name is Inazuka Kiba. I like to take walks with Akamaru, training and Hinata-chan. I dislike things that isn't Shui and cats. Roof. In battle I fight with Akamaru and my family's jutsu. Then I'll go next. My name is Aburame Shino. I like insects and looking for new insects and bug species. I dislike tofu and fire along with bright sunlight. In combat I use my Kakaichu bugs and my family jutsu, Shino stated in monotone. Well then I guess it's my turn then. Naruto smiled at her, and under the table Kiba took her hand encouraging her. Hinata took a deep breath and steeled herself. My name is Hyuga Hinata. I like cinnamon rolls, Kiba-kun, Naruto Nissan, Shino-san and flower pressing. I dislike people who look down on others and ISTS. In combat I use my Kekkei Genkai Byakugan and my family's Taijutsu style Jukin. Then, allow me. My name is Yuhi Kurenai. I like genjutsu, drinking tea and spending time with my friends. I dislike perverts, ISTS and arrogant snobs. My hobbies are making genjutsu and painting. In combat I use my genjutsu. Guess it's my turn then? My name is Hitaki Naruto. I like pizza, training, meditating and reading. I dislike people who don't stand up for themselves, traitors, and people that use others for their own personal goals. While I am skilled in pretty much everything, my specialties are kenjutsu and ninjutsu. I'm also extremely with my Kekkei Genkai. You have a Kekkei Genkai. Kiba yelled wide-eyed, but you never showed us at the academy. Of course not. It was never necessary to reveal it, therefore I kept it a secret. So, what kind of Kekkei Genkai do you have? I wanna know. Kiba whined, still you could easily feel he wasn't the only curious one. Naruto sighed. What I'm about to show you is something you can never speak of without my permission, alright? At the 4 nods he sighed again and moved his headband, revealing his green eye. 4 gasps were heard as his eyes started spinning and then calmed down, revealing a red eye with 3 tomos connected in a circle. Sharingan, Kurenai breathed out, but how? You aren't an Uchiha? Naruto smiled. I got this from Kakashi Nisan, the man that adopted me a long time ago. He died on an S-rank mission and I inherited his Sharingan, he explained. Wow, so it's like Sasuke's? Nope, mine has 3 tomos making it more developed than Sasuke's, besides Sasuke don't have a Kanpeki Sharingan like mine. Kanpeki Sharingan? Naruto then used the next half an hour explaining to them the different forms of the Sharingan and about his own. Cool, can we see it, please? Pretty please? Kiba begged while making puppy dog eyes. Sure, but stop that, it doesn't look cute at all. It actually looks kind of creepy, Kiba just pouted. Naruto breathed and then whispered, Kanpeki Sharingan. Naruto's Sharingan started spinning madly before settling down. The 4 spectators gasped loudly as they took in the new eye. The normal red color was now black and covered by 3 overlapping ellipses, giving it 6 points. The design was red. Around the pupil was a shuriken-looking design. The pupil in the middle was slit like an animal's. The ellipse design was glowing red. Think Sasuke's Mangekyo Sharingan with Kakashi's Mangekyo Sharingan around the pupil in the middle. The pupil in the middle is slit like Naruto's eyes become when he uses the fox chakra. Whoa. That's so cool. So, what can it do? Naruto smiled. That'll have to wait till another time, but I will say that its power dwarfs any other Kekkei Genkai in existence. Kurenai spoke up, alright. Listen up, tomorrow we'll meet at Training Ground 8 at 9 sharp. There, you'll take the real Genin exam. The real Genin exam? But we already passed the academy test. Kurenai smiled darkly. You really thought it'd be that easy? Oh no, that was only to find out who gets a shot at Genin. The real test will be given by me. And just so you know, this test has a 66% failure chance, and those that don't pass will have to go back the academy for another year. Well, see you tomorrow. And with that she shined away, leaving the 4 Genin hopefuls alone. Seems she left the check to us. Very clever, Naruto drawled out lazily. He noticed Kiba's nervous expression. Ma, don't worry Kiba-kun, I won't let any of you guys fail, alright? Kiba seemed to get back his hope as he looked into Naruto's confidence-filled eyes. You sure, Naruto-kun? I mean, she is a Chunin and all. Naruto smiled. Don't worry, even without my Sharingan I'm strong. Besides, if we work together she won't know what hit her. The 3 other members of the soon-to-be Team 8 smiled. Hi Hitaki Taicho. They chorused. Huh? Hitaki Taicho? Shino decided to explain. Hi. You're the rookie of the year. You're strong, clever and a good leader. Therefore we have decided that you are the leader when we are not under Kurenai-sensei's orders. Naruto blushed a bit. I see. Well, don't worry. I'll make sure your faith aren't misplaced. Naruto said, for once not being lazy or sarcastic. Now listen up. This is what we'll do tomorrow. Training Ground 8 the next day. Alright, now remember, she's a genjutsu specialist so we can't be sure about anything we see, okay? Naruto asked. They all nodded their agreement. At that moment Kurenai appeared. It's good to see you're all here, so let's begin. Your objective is to locate and apprehend me before the day is over, understood? They all nodded. Very good, now, begin. And with that she disappeared into the surrounding forest. Yash, Shino, did you place a Kakaichu on her? Hi Taicho, we can commence the tracking immediately, Shino said. Good, Kiba, do you and Akamaru have her scent? Of course Taicho. Roof. Naruto breathed. Good, Kiba, you and Hinata will make up one team, me and Shino the other. We'll split up so that she'll have 2 groups to worry about. When we locate her, Shino's bugs will drain her chakra and Hinata will use her Jukin to close her Tenketsu and make sure she won't be able to do anything else. Me and Kiba will serve as distractions to allow you 2 to subdue her, alright? Hi Taicho. They yelled and then split up, ready to capture their sensei and become a true Genin team. Naruto and Shino arrived at a small clearing, seeing their sensei standing in the middle of it, her eyes observantly watching the forest. Ready, Shino? He asked. Shino nodded. Well then, here I go. And with that he drew 10 shuriken and threw them with pinpoint accuracy only for his sensei to dodge at the last second. He drew his sword and charged her as she parried with her 2 kunai, They began a deadly dance as Naruto kept winning ground against her. I've been on the defensive since we started. His kenjutsu really are something else. Kurenai thought as she dodged another sword strike only to get the air blown out of her as Kiba and Akamaru came charging from nowhere and hit her from the side. She was about to cast a genjutsu when she found she couldn't draw out any chakra. The hell? How come ICA? She was drawn from her thoughts once again as she heard the sound of insects buzzing Kakaichu. But since when? In a blur, Hinata dashed out from the darkness of the forest and hit their sensei with several strikes to the chest and abdomen and knocking her into a tree. Before she could react, she had a blade and several kunai aimed at her neck. Apprehension completed. Target confirmed. Yuhi Kurenai, Naruto said with a smile. Kurenai smiled as the Kakaichu withdrew into Shino. Congratulations. You all pass it with great pleasure. I hereby appoint you as the new Team 8 Inches. Naruto was currently angry. Very angry. Why was he angry, you ask? Because he and his team had spent the last 3 hours getting their asses kicked. While Naruto was strong, he knew he wasn't unbeatable. It did however hurt his pride that the one that kicked his ass was a cat. Yes, a cat, more specifically the demon cat of evilness. Tora, the daimyo's wife's cat. It had scratched Team 8 beyond recognition. It was therefore with great glee that they watched as the cat was crushed by its owner. Suffer, evil monster cat. Suffer. Muahahaha. Naruto thought with glee. Ha, that'll teach ya. Damn stupid feline. Almost scratched my face off. That's why I prefer dogs. Kiba thought angrily. For once, I enjoy seeing a creature suffer, Shino thought in a rare show of emotion. Kurenai and Hinata sweat dropped as you could almost see the malicious aura coming off the three males. Right. Anyways, that's yet another mission completed by Team 8 Inches, Kurenai said, turning her attention back onto the Sandame. Nay, old man, can't we please get a C-rank mission? We're tired of these ridiculous choirs. Naruto said, not looking up from his new book Advanced Medical Knowledge. Pressure points while he was chewing on a senbon. It was something he had seen a Konoha shinobi do, and he thought it looked badass, and since then it had become a habit. Here is inside. Well, I do have a C-rank escort mission, but only if your sensei believes you ready for it. Kurenai nodded. She hated D ranks as much as her genin did. The team is more than ready. They are without a doubt the strongest genin team in Konoha. They'd even give Guy's team a run for their money. Hiruzen smiled, such confidence. Very well, you may come in now. He said the last part to the door as their client entered. The man looked to be in his late 50s and he was holding on to a sake bottle tightly. I am the super bridge builder Tazuna-sama. Wait, these are the super genin tasked with protecting me. They look okay, I guess. Except for that dog boy. He looks like a super brat. I mean, the hell, kid. Leave your pets at home, will ya? The old man was completely oblivious to the key. Killing intent, coming from Kiba, and from Hinata. She was pissed at him as well. Who does he think he is? Insulting her, Kiba-kun? Why, you old drunk. I oughta kick your ass. Kiba screamed as he charged the old man. He was however caught by the collar by Naruto with the hand not holding on to his precious book. Ma Kiba-kun. We can't have you kill the client now, can we? He let go of Kiba and looked at Tazuna. As for you, Tazuna-san, you should know that Kiba-kun is of the Inuzuka clan. One of Konoha's greatest clans whom specializes in tracking and combat with their canine companions. Which means Kiba-kun is a first-class ninja, and is almost impossible to ambush. Tazuna was slack-jawed. The dog boy was that great? Also, that lazy kid seemed to be quite unique too. Furthermore, Naruto continued, you shouldn't insult your bodyguards, Tazuna-san. To accentuate his point, he grabbed a pencil from one of his vest pockets. He uses them to write down notes in his books. And charged it with electricity. He then flung it at Tazuna, as it easily made its way through the wall right next to Tazuna's head. Are we clear, Tazuna-san? He asked in a lazy voice with an undertone of something dangerous. Crystal clear. Tazuna stuttered out. Kurenai sighed. Naruto, don't threaten the client, alright? At his nod she continued, but not before hearing him mutter. I never get any fun, do I? She smiled. Alright, team. You have half an hour to pack and then meet at the village gates. Now, move out. Hi, sensei. And with that the four genin shunshined away. 15 minutes later, Naruto had finally gotten everything packed and was currently examining himself in his mirror. His normally black sleeveless shirt was now crimson in color. He had wrapped bandages around both his arms all the way from the shoulders to his wrists. He now wore only one fingerless glove on his left hand as he used his sword and the Raikiri with his right hand. And wearing a glove would only shred it due to the density of the lighting chakra. The new glove was green on the right side and blue on the left. In the middle of it was a red circle with 3 tomos, a tribute to all 3 of his eye colors. His vest covered his whole torso ending just where his pants began. It was black with a red design that looked like lightning spreading all over the vest. It also had a hood. He wore Enbu-style pants in dark blue, with a black flame design coming from the end of the 2 legs and spreading up the pant leg. He also wore white ninja-style sandals. He had updated his shinobi-style belt a lot. Now not only did it hold ninja wire and explosive nodes, but also 2 pouches with senbon, and at the hips it was fashioned as to hold 2 folded Fuma shuriken. His kunai pouch was at the right thigh and his shuriken pouch at his left thigh. His chikudo is always hang in his belt. Over it all he had a black cloak with a red flame design and a dark blue lightning design. The reason why I'm explaining in detail is because this'll be his outfit for much of the story minus cloak of course. Satisfied with his new look he made sure he had everything packed and then holstered his backpack over one shoulder. He then shunshined to the Inuzuka compound to pick up Kiba. He arrived at the compound gates and the guards immediately let him in. Team 8-Kurenai would usually train, make strategies and just hang out at each other's houses. Even the Hyugas accepted when they were there, but they mostly used the Inuzuka compound since it was big and the Inuzukas was friendly. He hurriedly made his way to Kiba's room and prayed to all the gods that Kiba's sister Hana wasn't awake. It seems like the beautiful woman had a thing for Naruto, calling him Alpha and stuff like that. Unfortunately the gods wasn't with him today as 2 slender arms suddenly made their way into his cloak and under his clothes and moved up and down his muscles. The person whispered into his ear, "You couldn't wait to see me again, ne, Naru-kun?" Naruto swallowed. Hana-san. Long time no see huh? He stuttered out while trying to ignore the hands moving towards his waistline and the chest pressed against his back. "Indeed it has, I've been so lonely without you." Her voice carried an undertone of something he couldn't quite place but it made him blush furiously. Her hands had almost reached his waistline now, and Naruto couldn't move his body at all. Kiba chose this moment to burst through the door on their left and run straight into Naruto at full power, knocking both of them down the stairs head first. Ouch, what the hell? Taicho, oi, Taicho, are you alright? Talk to me man, Kiba exclaimed when he saw Naruto. Naruto slowly sat up and turned to look at Kiba with a completely neutral expression. Kiba flinched. Oh boy, he's gonna kick my ass. He definitely didn't expect Naruto to hug him. But that was exactly what Naruto was doing at the moment with anime tears streaming from his eyes as he repeatedly thanked Kiba for saving his virginity. Suor, you're welcome. Anyways, we have to get to the gate before Kurenai-sensei goes ballistic on us. And with that he grabbed Naruto and quickly shunshined to their meeting place. Hana pouted, "You got away this time, but I'll make you mine soon enough Naru-kun." Naruto shivered in mid-shunshin. When they arrived, they were greeted with a bored drunken old man, 2 angry women and Shino who was. "Well Shino, you're late. Where in the world have you been?" Kurenai asked her 2 students. They were both so skilled yet one was lazy and the other one had the mentality of an animal. "Well you see, me and Kiba was hurrying over here when we saw this old man get attacked by alley cats. As the good leaf shinobi we are, we hurried to the old man's side and helped him fend off the vile beasts. Then we escorted him home and here we are now." Naruto finished with an expression that could make even the most stoic and emotionless Hyugas jealous. "Naruto Nissan, stop making up such ridiculous lies." Hinata lectured. Since Team 8 had been created, Hinata had grown immeasurably both in skill and in confidence. She was now outspoken, friendly and didn't shy away from an argument if she believed she was right. "Ma, it's fine Hinata-chan. We're here now right? So let's go." Naruto drawled lazily while gnawing on his senbon. For once his book was in his backpack, and his hands were now in his pockets completing the ultimate look of laziness that would make any Nara proud. Kurenai was once again amazed by the sheer laziness of her student. As amazing as it sounds, Naruto once again is right. "Let's move out." And with that Team 8 plus 1 drunken old man moved out. They made good speed even with the old man. Amazingly, he had a lot of energy even though he looked like he could fall asleep any minute. As they walked, they scouted a puddle at the side of the road. Tazuna just walked on obliviously, but the 5 ninja exchanged glances and subtly prepared for a quick battle. Not 15 seconds later, 2 nins emerged from the puddle and charged the small group, both of them wearing a glove with a sharp chain attached between them. Faster than the eye could see, Naruto turned and flashed through hand seals along with Hinata. Water release, pressure stream technique. Hinata shouted as she blew out a steady stream of water that soaked the chain and the 2 nins while also blowing them back. Naruto followed right after, lightning release, shock barrage technique. Several spear-like lightning missiles was created in a circle in front of Naruto. Suddenly they flew one by one so fast it was impossible to track with the untrained eye and embedded themselves in the chain. Still soaked and connected with the 2 nuke nins, the lightning spread and electrified the 2 nins into unconsciousness. The reason why I write in English is because I'm gonna use many of my own jutsu. The 2 above are both my original texts. After splashing a little water on him to wake them up, Kurenai cast a genjutsu on them and made them tell about their goal, and about Zabuza. Kurenai sighed. Tazuna-san, we need to talk. After the explanation, she turned to her team. So, what do you guys want to do? She asked them, though she didn't really need an answer. I want to help these people, besides it might get fun. Naruto exclaimed. Hell yeah, Taicho. Me and Akamaru are gonna kick some ass. Roof. Indeed, we might get to fight some strong opponents like this. Zabuza person, Shino added his 2 cents. I can't forgive this Gato person for doing something like this. We'll take him down, Hinata added. Kurenai smiled and Tazuna looked on with a new sense of hope swelling in his chest. Maybe this would be the miracle Wave had hoped for. After their little strategic meeting, they continued on to meet with the man that had promised to ferry them across to Wave. About half an hour later they finally reached the shore, and after thanking the man they moved on. Suddenly Kiba flung a kunai at the bushes, making a snow-white bunny leap out and flee. The hell are you doing? This is a Konoha elite shinobi? You scared the crap out of me for no reason. Tazuna roared. Not only did he need to deal with Gato and enemy ninja, now he had to deal with jumpy brats too. Naruto's visible eye widened. That bunny was snow white. That's the color they take in the winter. Normally they'd be brown this time of year, which means it's used as a replacement. Shit, the enemy is already here. He heard the sound of something coming towards them fast. Everyone, hit the deck now. He roared as he dragged Tazuna down with him. The others hit the deck instantly and not a moment too soon. A giant Zanbato sailed over their heads and embedded itself in the nearby tree. A large man appeared on the handle. Kurenai glared at the man. So, the Demon Brothers weren't lying when they said they worked for you, Momochi Zabuza? Zabuza's eyes widened before narrowing. Yuhi Kurenai, Konoha's genjutsu mistress. Hey, no wonder the Demon Brothers told on me, Zabuza said, his voice filled with bloodlust. Hey, sorry, I would love to play with you, but I have to take out that old guy. In response he got a raised middle finger from Naruto. Too bad for you, Mr. Eyebrowless Freak, but we ain't giving up the old dude. Zabuza's eye twitched. Big words from a soon-dead brat, he said, trying to instill fear in the teen ninja. What he got was 2 raised middle fingers, a malicious aura coming of the girl, and the guy covered completely was giving him an unpleasant stare. Form up and protect Tazuna-san. Make sure to guard every angle. I'll deal with him, Kurenai instructed as she turned and glared at the man whom had now removed his Zanbato from the tree and was blocking the road. Kurenai instantly went on the offensive, demonic illusion, great forest strangulation technique. Trees sprouted from the ground and enveloped Zabuza, slowly strangling him while completely binding his body. Zabuza gasped as he slowly lost air. He couldn't breathe, couldn't move, hell, he couldn't even scream. In a last-ditch effort to save himself, he bit down on his lip hard, making it bleed. The pain snapped him out of the illusion just in time to see Kurenai stab at him with a kunai. Being the skilled shinobi he was, he deftly caught her by the wrist and threw her out on the lake. He then flashed through hand signs, hidden mist technique. As the fog rolled in, he dashed to Kurenai and went through even more seals, water prison technique. He held out his hand as Kurenai was encased in a water sphere. He never noticed the slightly tilted headband or the red glow coming from one Hitaki Naruto. Naruto was smiling. God bless Zabuza. Even more water jutsu. Hells yes. There we go. No more pesky illusions. And no more Chunin. Hey, now to take out the brats. He gloated and turned his attention to the genin and Tazuna. Tazuna flinched, but the ninjas protecting him didn't seem fazed at all. Naruto sighed. Alright, stay here and guard Tazuna-san, okay? I'm gonna help out Kurenai-sensei. Shino, can you get some bugs on him? Shino shook his head. I'm afraid not, Naruto Taicho. It seems the mist is laced with chakra, it's confusing my bugs. Naruto just nodded. Alright. Hinata, you're in front. If he tries to sneak up on us, your Byakugan will instantly pick him up. And with that, Naruto walked through the mist, quickly disappearing from sight. Zabuza noticed someone coming towards him, and from that he could see the person was alone. He smirked to himself. Did they think only one genin could take him out? To his surprise, it wasn't one of the genins but his target Tazuna that emerged from the mist. I will go with you, the old man slurred. He was obviously half drunk, but you have to let the woman and the brats go. I won't let Gato hurt anyone not involved. Zabuza smirked under his bandages and charged the old man, leaving a Mizu Bunshin, water clone, in charge of the sphere. Like you have anything to barter with, old man. I'll kill all of you. Hey, goodbye, ya old drunk. Zabuza roared as he swung his Zanbato and cut through the bridge builder. To his surprise, the old man disappeared and reappeared right behind him, only he had changed back into the orange-haired kid. Damn, I had thought I could make you drop your guard with a henge transformation. But I guess that was wishful thinking. And with that, Naruto drew his sword impossibly fast and sliced into Zabuza, giving him a deep gash across the chest. Zabuza cried out in pain and quickly jumped back, making some distance between the kid and him. Naruto flashed hand seals, wind release, furious gale technique. Naruto sucked in wind and blew out. The wind formed a tornado that blew away everything in its path. Zabuza only barely managed to stay on his feet, applying large amounts of chakra to his feet and shielding himself with his sword. Hey, nice try, kid, but I'm afraid I'm still here, Zabuza said with a smirk. He quickly dropped the smirk, however, when he saw his opponent smile at him. That jutsu was meant for your fog, not you. With that, he lifted his headband, revealing his eye and drawing his sword. I'm not gonna use the Sharingan just yet. Zabuza growled and heaved his own sword, pointing it threateningly at the kid. You want a sword duel? You're dumber than I thought, kid. But I will gladly take you out. He threatened and prepared to charge. Naruto smiled. Momochi Zabuza, huh? Alright, let's dance. With that, the two sword-wielding shinobi charged each other, intent on ending the other's life. Naruto quickly began a series of rapid slashes in blinding speed, making it hard for his opponent to follow. However, Zabuza wasn't a Chunin for no reason and used his superior battle experience to narrowly dodge each and every slash. They clashed in a stalemate again, and Zabuza decided to end it. He used his great strength to knock back Naruto and the flashed through hand seals. Water release. Great Titan's Wrath technique. The water around him started rise and shift, eventually creating a giant formed purely of water. The being roared to the heavens before raising its massive fist ready to smash Naruto. Zabuza could only stare as he looked at Naruto's eye. Before it had been an azure green color. Now it was crimson red with 3 tomos. Sharingan, he breathed, but how? Who the hell are you? He yelled the last bit. Naruto smiled and then flashed through his own set of hand seals. Water release. Great Titan's Wrath technique. Much faster than Zabuza's, the giant rose from the water and roared at him before attacking the other giant. The two clashed as they spread water all over the surrounding lake and trees. Zabuza sneered angrily and flashed through hand seals for the jutsu he knew would finish the fight. Water release. Great Water Demon's Raging Stream Monster technique. The water around Zabuza boiled as several demon-shaped water beings rose and screamed as if they were being tortured. Then they merged together, creating a being that looked like a mix between a hydra, a knight and a bear. It had 8 heads that furiously hissed at him, a bear's body and what looked like armor attached to its body. Naruto frowned. That's a very high-level water jutsu. Why does Zabuza know something like this? Well, at least now I know it too. He breathed as he prepared one of his most powerful jutsu, a technique he had created about a month ago. He flashed through the hand seals as the monster before him slowly stabilized and prepared to end him. Lightning release. Emperor's Great Shock Barrage. Perfect Circle Ultimate Spear technique. The spears from the normal shock barrage technique spun around faster and faster until they merged and became one great spear of pure lightning. Naruto then grabbed the spear and prepared to throw it. Zabuza's eyes widened. What the hell is that technique? He asked in awe. Naruto smiled once again. One of my ultimate techniques and my own personally created jutsu. And with that he threw the spear at Zabuza with such speed that it was impossible to dodge, and it rammed straight through his water demon and his water giant, and then it exploded in an enormous lightning shower. When the smoke finally disappeared, the true power of the jutsu was clear. There was a giant crater easily bigger than most lakes, and all the water in the area had vaporized due to the density of the electricity, making it so hot that it was only surpassed by Amaterasu's flames. Zabuza was slumped against a tree that was right at the edge of the corner. Since Naruto had blown away the fog, they had all witnessed his fight with Zabuza. He slowly made his way towards Zabuza. Holy crap, I knew Taicho was amazing, but this is ridiculous. To think he made a jutsu like that. Kiba whispered to the others. They could only nod in response. Even Shino had dropped his usually impassive mask in favor of a completely astonished one. Kurenai had long since been freed from the water prison, and she too could only stare. Naruto, just how strong are you? Zabuza glared at him as best he could. Naruto just drew his sword and prepared to end Zabuza. Who in the world are you? He asked with fear and awe evident in his voice. He hated himself for it, but he couldn't deny that this kid was of a whole different league. Naruto looked at him for a while before answering, Sharingan no Naruto. And with that he swung his blade only to stop mid-swing as Zabuza was killed by 3 senbon piercing his neck. A hunter nin appeared beside the corpse. I must thank you for making my job a lot easier. Because of you I had no trouble apprehending this criminal. But now I must take my leave, I still need to dispose of the body. And with that he shined away, leaving the group confused. Kiba sighed as they regrouped, glad that's over with. At least Gato can't have any ninja stronger than Zabuza, right? I mean, he was an A- class nuke nin. Guess he wasn't expecting Taicho. Naruto smiled at the praise as he repositioned his Hite Ite. Naruto shook his head. I wouldn't be too sure about that, Kiba-kun. At their confused stares he continued. Normally nuke nins are disposed of right then and there. Yet that hunter nin we just saw took Zabuza with him. Which means he was probably Zabuza's partner. Shino, what do your bugs say? He asked as he turned to the bug user. Shino was quiet for a minute before answering. It seems you were right, Taicho. This fake hunter was indeed Zabuza's friend. It would seem he has also somehow resurrected Zabuza. Naruto's visible eye widened and then narrowed. I see, the near-death state. That would explain his so-called resurrection. The others looked at him as they resumed their trip to Tazuna's house. It's a state that stops all bodily functions for a few minutes while not completely killing their target, giving the illusion of death. It seems Zabuza's pal is skilled with senbon. After that they resumed talking about nothing and everything to make the time pass on their trip. Kiba was constantly pestering Naruto to teach him his ultimate spear technique, but was disheartened when he found out that it required a ridiculous amount of chakra. It wasn't long till they reached Tazuna's house. Naruto knocked on the door and it was almost ripped off its hinges as he came face to face with a beautiful young woman with long black hair. She blushed heavily as she took in his features. She then noticed the others and broke into a smile when she saw Tazuna. "Tu-sama, you're safe, thank God. I was so worried that something would have happened to you." Tazuna smiled sheepishly. "Sorry for worrying you, Tsunami-chan, but let's not be rude and let our guests here out in the cold." And with that they hurried into the house. It wasn't long till Tazuna was telling Tsunami about their trip. "You should have seen it. This kid made an enormous spear of lightning and then he flung it. The damage was unbelievable," he exclaimed as he gestured towards Naruto, who was currently doing handstand push-ups on one finger. He flipped himself on his feet and then looked on the 3 other genins. "From tomorrow on, we're going to train each and every day while we switch who guards Tazuna." Hinata voiced everyone's question. "Training Naruto Nissan? But why? It's just a guard job, right? The hardest we'll face are bandits." "That's where you're wrong, Hinata-chan. Zabuza is still alive, and you can be sure as hell he's coming back for Tazuna-san's head. That's why we're going to become much stronger," Naruto explained. "But why would we need training so badly, Taicho? If worse comes to worse, you and Kurenai-sensei can surely defeat him?" Shino asked. "Indeed we could, Shino-kun. But I'm worried about that partner of his. That person was strong, maybe more so than Zabuza himself. The other occupants of the room looked at him in shock as he smiled back at them. Don't worry, by the time we're done with training you're gonna be unstoppable. He cheered. The mood instantly changed from serious and grave to cheerful and happy. Naruto felt someone glaring at his back and turned to see a little kid with black hair and green clothes with a striped hat on. He was giving Naruto a look that could kill plants. Why? Why do you try to fight against Gato and his thugs? They'll just kill you all. You should just leave. Gato has already taken everything from us. What do you guys even know about pain? All of you should just get lost right now. And with that he ran upstairs. Tazuna looked sad and Tsunami was at the point of tears. That was my son Inari. I am so sorry. He's endured so much and it's turned him into a sad and lonely boy. She apologized with tears streaming down her face. Naruto smiled at her with his patented smile that made you feel like you could carry the entire weight of the world on your shoulders with no problems at all. It's fine Tsunami-chan, it's fine. She couldn't help but blush from the smile and the kindness in his voice. Naruto turned his attention towards Tazuna. Tazuna-san, would you mind telling me his story? Pain is something I can relate quite well to. His teammates and sensei's faces darkened at that. They knew all too well about the kind of life Naruto had to endure before he was saved. He had even told them about the Kyuubi and said that if they didn't want to work with him he would transfer to another team. They had instantly shot that idea down. After all, he was him and the Kyuubi was the Kyuubi. Tazuna sighed sadly as he shifted his gaze from the stairs onto Naruto. I guess it wouldn't hurt to let you know. And with that he began his tale. After telling them about how Inari was saved from a man who would become like a father to Inari and about how he saved the town only to be executed by Gato in order to crush the country's hope, Naruto disappeared to go talk with Inari. Naruto approached Inari's room from which sobbing could be heard. He smiled sadly and knocked on the door quietly. May I come in? When he received no answer he pushed the door open and walked into the room to see Inari sobbing over a picture as he sat on his table. Naruto quietly positioned himself on Inari's bed and was about to start a conversation when Inari interrupted him. Come to scold me? Come to preach for me? Come to tell me how I'm an ungrateful brat? He yelled at Naruto but was surprised when he got a small sad smile in return. I've heard about what happened from Tazuna-san. I wanted to tell you my story if you would hear it? Inari was surprised. Why did he look so pained when he mentioned his own past? In any case Inari was curious and therefore he nodded. Naruto smiled and motioned for Inari to come sit beside him. Inari complied, still a bit wary. When he had positioned himself Naruto started. I am an orphan. I grew up never knowing who my parents was in an orphanage that hated me. Actually all of Konoha hated me. From I was 2 years old I was beaten within an inch of my life every night. People told their kids to stay away from me, that I was evil. On my 4th birthday it was the worst storm in all of Konoha's history. Some villagers broke down my door. A year before this I was kicked out of the orphanage and got my own rundown crap apartment. Well, these villagers fastened me to a lightning rod and positioned it at the highest possible point in the village excluding the Hokage Tower, and then they left me there through the whole night. When I was found the next morning I had been struck by so much lightning that I should have been dead at least 10 times. Stuff like this kept happening up until a night when I was 6 years old where I was saved and adopted by a man named Hitaki Kakashi. He took me in, fed me and trained me to become the best shinobi ever, and for a time I was truly happy. But, alas, fate is a cruel lover. 3 years later Kakashi Nissan died on a mission. Once again I was alone and lost in a village that hated me. But the other Junin ninja that had been friends with Kakashi Nissan trained me and helped me. I resolved myself to becoming the strongest shinobi ever. And then take the Hokage hat for myself. I have endured so much pain and loneliness in my life. But, I won't let it get me down, never ever. I'm gonna rid the world of people like Gato so people like you, your mom and your grandpa can live happily. He finished his tale, his eyes glowing with resolution. Inari was speechless. Naruto had endured so much more than himself, yet he resolved himself to becoming stronger instead of hating everything and everyone. He was so cool. You're right, Nissan, I'm gonna become stronger like you. And protect my mom and grandpa. I'll get revenge for my dad. I will become so amazing that even you have to acknowledge me, Naruto Nissan. Naruto smiled brightly at the boy. Nay, Inari-kun, would you like to see something cool? It's something I acquired from that lightning incident I told you about. Inari nodded energetically. Yash, you know about chakra, right? At the nod he continued, as my body was struck by continuous lightning. My chakra absorbed it and it changed and adapted to the electricity. It became this. As he finished, both his hands up to his elbows were enveloped in white lightning. It didn't even look like he was hurt. Inari had stars in his eyes. SSSS, so cool. What is that? He exclaimed loudly. Naruto smiled at his awe. I call it Dragon Slayer Chakra. It's from a history I read once about a small group of people able to envelop themselves in elemental chakra in order to fight against dragons when they existed. This is the Lightning Slayer style. I'm still working on a Fire Slayer and a Wind Slayer style. Check this out. He opened Inari's window and then breathed in and released a stream of white lightning. Raryu number Hoko. Lightning Dragon's Roar. Isn't it cool? It turns different parts of the body into a dragon's. Or, that's the idea at least. And it cost almost no chakra, it doesn't need hand seals, and it gives my taijutsu some serious kick-ass power. Inari's eyes was bigger than it should be humanly possible. There truly were hope for Wave still. After that they talked about their lives in general and about what they had experienced. Hours passed and they would have kept on going were it not for Tsunami. Inari, Naruto-kun, dinner's ready. She called from the kitchen. They made their way downstairs to find a most amusing scene before them. Tazuna was obviously drunk and was hitting on Kurenai. And failing badly. Tsunami was repeatedly hitting her father with a spoon. Kurenai was trying to ignore Tazuna while reading a book. Hinata and Kiba kept looking at each other, completely forgetting everything around them. Shino was sitting at a window communicating with his Kakaichu and trying to find new insects for his ever-growing hive. Akamaru was playing with one of Inari's hats and apparently found it to be an endless hat of enjoyment. Naruto whistled. Wow, what happened here? I leave for a few hours and suddenly the whole place is coming down? He asked teasingly. And what's with those two looking seconds away from sucking each other's faces off? He continued as he gestured towards Kiba and Hinata, both of which blushed a bright red. Inari couldn't help but burst out laughing at the comment. Everyone instantly noticed the change in Inari's mood and demeanor. Tazuna was wide-eyed. He managed to get Inari to smile again. This boy gets more and more amazing with each passing minute. Tsunami was also overjoyed. My little boy is smiling again. Thank you Naruto, truly thank you. Yash, eating time. Man, I'm hungry. It's surprising how taxing it is to go around being a miracle worker, he said with a grin that everyone else mirrored. That night was the most joyous and happy one Tazuna and his family had had in a long time. Afterwards they went to bed with the 3 males sharing a room and the 2 females sharing a room with Tsunami. The next day, after grabbing some breakfast, Team 8-Sensei had gone off to train, as she had accompanied Tazuna to the city to buy groceries. Alright, line up. This training is gonna be grueling, it's gonna be harsh, and most of all it's gonna make you wish you'd never become shinobi. But when it's over you'll be that much stronger. So, any of you wanna back out? Naruto asked as he looked them over. Receiving nothing but determined glares. Well, it was kinda hard to tell with Shino, but they had learned to read his facial expressions quite well. He continued. Okay, all of you will be training your clan jutsu to perfection. I'm gonna come back in 4 hours, and if you haven't perfected your chosen jutsu by the time I get back, there will be no dinner and you will sleep outside. Now get to it. And with that he shunshined away, leaving 3 very determined genin. Naruto arrived at a clearing a couple of miles away as he hurriedly scouted the area for enemy shinobi or anyone not meant to see his training. When he found none, he started working on some of his new jutsu. While he did this he created 500 shadow clones to train his chakra control. He also created another 500 whom instantly started going through katas for his Chikuto. And then he worked himself into the ground. 4 hours later he returned to find his teammates lying on the ground, bruised and panting and visibly exhausted. Alright, let's see what you've been working on. They showed him the jutsu they had been working on. The Kaden, Heavenly Spin, for Hinata, the Gatsuga, Dual Piercing Fang, for Kiba and Akamaru, and the Mashidama, Insect Sphere. For Shino. Naruto made a mental note on finding out how the Kaden worked. If he could combine it with his Dragon Slayer style he could emit a continuous dome of electricity or fire and wind for that sake. Afterwards they went home and had dinner and then went straight to B. This process continued itself over the week as Naruto and Kurenai took shifts guarding Tazuna on the bridge. One evening Naruto went out for some late-night training and fell asleep in a small clearing. Naruto frowned as something pulled him from his sleep. Sharpening his senses, he could feel a presence next to him. The presence was not someone he knew. It was, however, a shinobi, as he could tell from his chakra sensing, an ability he had developed that allowed him to tell stuff from a person's chakra. The chakra seemed familiar, but he couldn't place his finger on it. That was until he heard the low rustling of the presence giving off a metallic sound. He knew that sound all too well. Senbon, which meant this was Zabuza's little hunter nin friend. Deciding to play innocent and unknowing, he opened his eyes and met a couple of hazel brown eyes in the middle of a beautiful face. "Yon, morning, something I can help you with?" he asked cheerfully with a smile that the person mirrored. "Good morning, mister. I was just wondering what you were doing sleeping in a forest." "It seems kinda strange if you ask me," the person answered in a feminine voice that had a hint of masculinity. "Just so this won't get awkward later on. Are you a man or a woman?" Naruto asked with a sheepish smile. The person laughed. "I'm a guy, thanks for asking though. Many make passes at me without knowing it. I'm Hiku, by the way." Naruto laughed with him. "The name's Naruto, nice to meet ya." "So, what are you doing in the forest all by yourself? Seems kinda lonely," he asked curiously. "I'm looking for herbs. I need to make some healing salves. A friend of mine got hurt badly in an incident and I wanted to help him," Hiku said. Naruto noticed that he sounded very happy when he spoke of this person, whom Naruto figured was Zabuza. He filed it away for later. "May I help? I need to stretch my body anyways," he asked, wishing to learn more about this Hiku person. Hiku seemed truly happy that Naruto wanted to help him and eagerly nodded. "That would be an amazing help," Hiku said as he showed Naruto the herb he needed. Then they proceeded to search for the herbs while talking about their lives, each only giving up information that wasn't compromising. After about an hour, Hiku decided they had found enough herbs for one lifetime. "Nay, Naruto-kun, do you have anyone precious to you? Someone that you want to protect? No matter the cost?" Hiku inquired as he looked at his newfound friend, enemy. Naruto nodded as he laid down on the grass at the clearing. "Yeah, I do. My teammates. The few people in Konoha that didn't treat me like trash. And the people of Wave," he said fondly. "If they treat you so badly, then why do you continue to fight for Konoha?" Hiku couldn't understand why someone that had been treated worse than the lowest of low criminals by his village would still be loyal to it. Naruto had told him about the horrible treatment he had gotten. "Well, as I said, I have some precious people that I want to protect there. Also, my mom, dad, and the person that was like a big brother to me died defending Konoha. Therefore I would put shame on their names, were I to abandon the village. I decided I would become the best ninja in Konoha's history. That I would become a Hokage that surpassed all others. And that my village would recognize me." He stopped to let the words sink in with Hiku. "What about you, Hiku-kun? Do you have anyone precious to you?" he asked the boy he had found to be very kind-hearted despite being Zabuza's partner. "I do indeed, a man who saved me when I was alone. He fed me, clothed me, and trained me to become strong. That person is like a father to me. And I would gladly give my life for him," Hiku said with conviction. Naruto froze completely. Hiku and Zabuza's relationship was exactly like his and Kakashi's. They had both been saved from loneliness and death. "Well, I better get back to my team. They're probably beginning to worry. Maybe I'll see you some other time, Hiku-kun. And be careful of Gato's thugs. That bastard has his goons spread out all over Wave." Hiku smiled at his protectiveness. "I'll definitely be careful, you too." And with that they walked their own ways. Just before they were out of hearing reach, Naruto yelled to him. Something that made his blood run cold, something that surprised him greatly, and something that made him wonder why Naruto hadn't killed him. "One more thing, say hi to Zabu-chan for me, will ya? And wish him a fast recovery." And with that he shunshined away. Hiku couldn't help but smile as he walked towards the base where Zabuza was located. You could say a lot about Naruto, but the kid had style. Naruto appeared before Tazuna's house and quietly made his way into the house as not to alert anyone. He had taken 2 steps inside when he was attacked by a black blur. The black blur that went by the name of Inari had his stomach in a tight grip and wasn't planning on letting go anytime soon. "WW, where have you been? I was worried sick, you know." Your friends kept saying that you were fine B, but I thought that maybe Gato had managed too. Inari cried out as he buried his head in Naruto's clothes. Naruto smiled at the boy and ruffled his hair. Don't worry kiddo, remember? I promised I wouldn't die before becoming Hokage, right? He asked with a smile on his face that everyone mirrored. They hurriedly went to eating the dinner and then talked till late at night. Naruto tiredly dragged himself up the stairs to his room and, after undressing, flopped down on his bed. He was asleep before his head hit the pillow. The next day, Naruto yawned loudly as the sun's rays hit his face and his hair, making it look like a beautiful flame freezing over. He cursed at the sun. Why was the sun even shining right now? The sun normally started shining in wave at about 12:30 to 1300. Then realization hit him as ton of bricks. He had overslept, very much overslept. He hurriedly dressed and was about to charge down the stairs when he heard turmoil in the kitchen. It sounded like Tsunami screaming. His blood ran cold. Had something happened to her? He moved down the stairs, fast as a cheetah, quiet as a shadow. He glanced around the corner to find Inari standing in front of his mother yelling at two bandits that had seemingly cut down the house wall, that he would protect his mother from anyone that wished to harm her. Naruto smiled. The brat had really grown up in these past days. He shunshined silently, appearing right behind the two bandits and effortlessly knocking them out with a chop to the back of the head. He smiled at Inari. You did it, Inari-kun. You protected your mom from Gato and his thugs. But now it's time to take the fight to Gato, wouldn't you say? Gather the villagers. If you want to be free from Gato's control, then you had to defeat him yourself. All right? He asked the young boy. Of course. I'm gonna rally the townspeople. It's time we take the fight to Gato. With that, Inari and Tsunami ran off to gather the townspeople, and Naruto took of his Hite Ite and fastened it around his neck loosely. His Sharingan spun into action. Now, it's time to test this new ability I discovered. I shall call it Shunpo, Flash Steps. The technique that made Uchiha Shisui known as Shunshin no Shisui, Shisui of the body flicker. The fastest technique in the world. Impossible to copy and impossible to track. I'm quite lucky that his were the eyes I received. And with that he disappeared in a soft swoosh. Meanwhile, at the tool shed, I mean the bridge, imaginary cake to anyone that knows where that line is from. Team 7 and Tazuna had arrived at the bridge only to find the bridge builders lying around on the bridge in heaps, many of them having dangerously bordering on mortal wounds. Kurenai rushed to the nearest man. What in the world happened here? How did all of you end up like this? She asked the man, blood oozing from the wound on his chest as he harked up bile and blood. The demon. He breathed out as he succumbed to his wounds. Kurenai cursed, shit, what the hell? Only then did she realize that the whole area had become bathed in a suffocating mist. Kiba, Shino and Hinata hurriedly stacked up in front of Tazuna as the mist approached. Kiba sniffed the air and cursed loudly. Shit, this mist is laced with the smell of chakra. It's the same as back at with Zabuza. Relax, stick together and don't let Tazuna-san out of your sight. Remember, we might be dealing with his partner as well. Kurenai instructed as she went into professional mode. The three genin nodded and readied themselves for combat. With a small cry of Byakugan, Hinata's eyes bulged as veins appeared on the side. Shino sent his bugs out to scout and Kiba threw Akamaru a soldier pill. Hey, nice try brats, but you'll never be ready enough to face me. A voice rang out as the mist shifted and then slowly disappeared, revealing Zabuza and his accomplice. Zabuza-sama, did you notice something different about those three? The masked person asked. Indeed I did. It seems they've become quite a lot stronger since last time. Still, they shouldn't be a problem, ne Haku? The masked boy, now known as Haku, nodded, and then he and Zabuza charged the group. You three take Zabuza's little friend. I'll take Zabuza, Kurenai shouted as she charged Zabuza. Haha, you think you can win? This time your orange-headed brat isn't here. Zabuza yelled as he grabbed his Zanbatu and swung at Kurenai, who deftly dodged and went for a strike at his gut with a kunai. He grabbed her by the wrist and swung her into the air and then down into the ground with enough force to crack the ground. He smiled only for Kurenai to crack and sprout vines from everywhere. They quickly grabbed and bound Zabuza, immobilizing him. Suddenly Kurenai appeared behind him with a kunai at his neck. Demonic illusion. Hell's suffocating vine technique. She announced her technique as she prepared to strike Zabuza down. I hate. Illusions, Zabuza said as he realized what happened. Kurenai smiled. I get that a lot, and with that she struck. With the genin, Kiba, Shino and Hinata was hard-pressed against Haku, who made good use of his superior speed to beat them to bits. Please, just give up and hand over to Zuna-san. I don't want to hurt you more than necessary. Haku pleaded with the Konoha shinobi. Like hell we will. Kiba sneered. We Leaf Ninja never back down and never give up. That's what Taicho taught us. He said with conviction, the two others nodding their agreement. Very well, then I'll steal my heart and end your lives. Please don't hate me for this. He flung a barrage of senbon at the three genin, whom tried to move only to find that they couldn't move courtesy of the water at their feet solidifying and grabbing their legs. What the hell? Ice. Don't tell me. This guy is a bloodline user. Kiba exclaimed. Shino used his Kakaichu to absorb and disperse the chakra at his feet and charged at Haku, engaging him in a taijutsu match while trying to suck Haku's chakra dry with several Kakaichu-based moves. Hinata used her Jukin to disperse the chakra in the ice at hers and Kiba's feet, and they too joined the battle, using their superior teamwork to slowly overpower their foe. Haku jumped back making some distance and then used one hand to go through hand seals while he used the other throw senbon at the team, who frantically dodged. Demonic ice crystal mirrors. Ice formed around them as 21 mirrors of ice surrounded them. Haku quickly melted with one of the ice mirrors and threw a senbon at them, which quickly turned to 50. Kiba acted fast and pushed Tazuna out of dome just as it closed around them and the senbon hailed down on them. They managed to dodge all the fatal areas, but they were still horribly beaten up. Haku launched a last senbon aimed directly at Kiba as his eyes widened. Kiba! Hinata screamed with her lungs full power as she watched the man she loved about to die. Shino sped towards Kiba as fast as he could, but to everyone he was almost painfully slow as the senbon came closer and closer. Kiba closed his eyes and sent his final regards to his family, then he tilted his head and smiled at Hinata while he whispered, "Sorry, Hinata," and then he closed his eyes, awaiting the inevitable. Only it never came. Kiba opened his eyes little by little and then they sprung open as he recognized the person who had snatched the senbon out of the air. Naruto Taicho! Kiba exclaimed as he saw Naruto. Naruto turned his head and smiled at Kiba. Yo, Kiba-kun, sorry I'm late. Would you mind going with Hinata and Shino to protect Tazuna-san? We don't know if there's any more enemies around here. I'll take care of this guys. Naruto asked, the smile never once leaving his face. You got it. Be careful Taicho. This guy can use ice somehow. I think he has a bloodline limit. Naruto's eye widened momentarily before returning to normal, a vicious smile playing on his lips. This might get interesting yet. Now get out of here Kiba. Kiba nodded and hurriedly left along with the rest of Team 8. Naruto turned his head towards the mirror in the upper right corner of the dome. What do you say we play a little, ne Haku-kun? He asked. Haku flinched inside his mirror. How did he know which mirror I was located in? Haku thought as he faced the person he knew he would have to fight, even though they had so much in common. Very well, Naruto-kun, let's play, and with that he threw a hail of senbon at Naruto, whom only smiled and dodged them all using his amazing speed. The barrage of senbon kept coming and Naruto was getting annoyed. He charged and with his sword, cut 3 mirrors in half with one move. Haku emerged from one of the shards and would have moved to another had Naruto not caught him by the ankle and smacked him down onto the bridge hard. Haku was about to merge with another mirror when lightning emerged all around Naruto's body. Chidori Nagashi. 1000 birds current. The lightning spread out and simultaneously pierced every mirror left. Haku was wide-eyed, his ultimate jutsu crushed so easily? Not even Zabuza had managed to do that in his training. How did you know? How did you catch me so easily? How? He yelled at Naruto, whom just smiled back. When I destroyed the mirrors I heard you move. Going by my sense of hearing I could easily track you. Haku was slack-jawed. He had used his hearing to defeat him? That was ridiculous. At once the two boys heard Kurenai scream. They instantly turned towards the noise as the mist lifted, revealing a horrifying sight. At the end of the bridge was Gato and what seemed like hundreds of bandits ready to kill on order. Zabuza was pinned down and couldn't move due to several chains that had been fastened to his limbs. Kurenai was being restrained by 6 bandits whom all had a tight grip on her arms. So these are the brats that you can't even beat Hamamochi? Pathetic. Kill him and the brats. We'll have some fun with the two bitches from Konoha. One of the bandits raised his sword and swung down towards Zabuza's neck. It never reached. In its way stood Haku, who had almost been cleaved from the shoulder and all the way down. Naruto's eye widened and then narrowed in anger. The bandit lay headless not even a second later. Naruto sliced Zabuza's chains without even looking at him. He was glaring at Gato. For now we are allies, Zabuza-san. Hey, why should I care? Haku was nothing but a tool to be used and then discarded, he said with something making his voice very heavy. Your face is telling another story than your voice, Zabuza-san, Naruto said as he glanced at Zabuza. He, the terrifying demon of the mist, was crying like a child. Alright brat, let's give him hell. The two sword users charged as Naruto appeared almost instantaneously by Kurenai's side and decapitated the 6 men restraining her. Don't worry sensei, me and Zabuza-san will take care of these guys. Please, get Hinata to tend to Haku. Kurenai nodded and went off to search for Hinata with the young boy in her arms. She knew not to say anything as she slowly shook with fear. She had never seen anything like this. Naruto's chakra had been like that of a monster. He was very angry. The two ninja engaged the small army in a flurry of death and blood. It looked entrancing yet at the same time scary, like a beautiful monster about to eat you. Zabuza was clearly going for Gato as he charged through the masses, not even glancing at them. He was completely obsessed with the death of the small man. Gato was getting more and more frightened by the minute. These guys was not human, it was simply not possible. His train of thought was cut short as Zabuza suddenly appeared right in front of him. It's over Gato. You'll regret ever messing with this demon. Let's see just how hell is, shall we? And with that he sliced Gato in two just as Zabuza himself was stabbed several times by Gato's henchmen. Naruto's eye widened. Zabuza-san. He sliced his way to Zabuza, who was silently bleeding out on the ground. You okay? Hang on, I'll get you some medical treatment right away. He was stopped as Zabuza grabbed his wrist. Brat, take my sword, and make sure it gets back to Kiri. You were an amazing foe. I would have lost anyways. Thank you for giving me this chance at revenge. Stay safe, alright kid? Tears piled up in Naruto's eye, as he accepted the broadsword from Zabuza and sealed it away. Don't worry Zabuza-san. I'll make sure your final request gets honored. Zabuza smiled at the kind-hearted boy that had been his enemy only minutes before. One more thing, please, bury me alongside Haku? Naruto couldn't reply and only nodded at the request. He slowly picked up Zabuza and walked towards the others as the remaining bandits charged at him. Wind release. Great demon wall. A wall of wind knocked away all the bandits close to Naruto and sent most of them into their allies. Suddenly an arrow hit the ground right before the bandit leader. Everyone followed the arrow only to see Inari with his crossbow, the whole town behind him roaring angrily. The bandits visibly paled. Oh, shit. Screw this. I'm out of here. One of the bandits screamed as the rest followed his example and fled like little girls. Wave's inhabitants cheered happily as they were finally free from their oppressor. Naruto said nothing as he reached his team and Haku, who was being healed by Hinata. It was however clear that he wouldn't make it. Naruto laid Zabuza down beside Haku as he spoke. Sorry Haku, he's gone. I tried but they were so many. I'm truly sorry, Naruto said, his voice laced with sadness at his failure. It's not your fault Naruto-kun. At least I get to be with Zabuza-sama at the very end. Tell me, Naruto-kun, what will you do now? Haku asked as he looked at Naruto. I'm gonna become stronger. I'm gonna become so strong that I'll be able to always protect my village. I'm gonna become the strongest ninja ever. So I can face you and Zabuza in the next life without being ashamed. Naruto said as lightning crackled in his eye. Haku smiled a true smile and placed his hand on Naruto's chest. Then, I want you to have my power. Take it, and protect your precious persons. And with that he pumped all of his chakra directly into Naruto. Naruto screamed as ice appeared and formed in the shape of a dragon that coiled itself around Naruto before entering his right palm and disappearing. Naruto fell unconscious. What the hell did you do to Naruto Taicho? Kiba roared as he glared at the dying boy. Haku smiled as he shifted his gaze unto Kiba. I gave him the power of my clan. Naruto-kun has inherited the power of the great ice dragon Hiranmaru. He is now the last ice wielder in the world. And with that Haku passed away. 1 week later, Naruto and the rest of Team 8 was standing on the now finished bridge as they said their goodbyes. It had been 1 week since the fight at the bridge. 6 days since they had buried Zabuza and Haku. 5 days since Naruto had woken up to discover that he now wielded the ice release bloodline limit. It had been 4 days since he had started training with his new power. It had been 3 days since he had discovered he had lost his fire affinity and gained a water affinity. It had been 2 days since he had learned that he could manipulate water out of air, thereby meaning he didn't need water to use his water and ice release jutsu. This was an ability that only the second Hokage was known to have. It had been 1 day since he had used the ice release power to create the most badass ice scythe in history and had started working on a water and ice dragon slayer style. Since all his hard work on a fire style was now thrown out the window, he had cursed Haku at this. Well, I guess this is goodbye for now, Kurenai spoke as she watched her team say their goodbyes. Naruto ruffled Inari's hair. See ya some other time, kid. Don't forget to eat ya vegetables if you want to be strong like me, alright? He said with a huge smile that Inari mirrored. Of course. I'll surpass you in no time, Naruto-Nisan. Naruto smiled and shook Tazuna's hand as the old man repeatedly thanked him. He then took Tsunami's hand and placed kisses up her arm. I'll miss you, Tsunami-chan. Every living second I'm away I'll yearn for your touch. Tsunami blushed a bright scarlet from his words. He would have gone on, but Hinata grabbed him by the collar and dragged him off as everyone laughed at the scene. Team 8 made their way back home. The Kiri Cage Tower. Mate Terumi, the 5th Mizukage, was slack-jawed. Using a secret jutsu to see what her spies saw, she had just witnessed Momochi Zabuza, one of the 7 swordsmen feared all over the elemental countries, being thoroughly owned by a Konoha genin, and a handsome one at that. Sharingan no Naruto, huh? How utterly delicious, she thought with a blush on her face. Naruto stood at the top of an earth spike protruding from the ground. Down below was a large amount of trees, easily enough to cover a medium-sized town. Above him the lightning roared as it arched across the sky and rain fell seemingly endlessly. Naruto raised a hand as lightning sparked to life around it, sending a lightning bolt into the sky. It soon erupted in bright light as a demon head appeared, followed by its upper body. It let out a thundering roar that dwarfed all other sounds. Naruto closed his hand with his index and middle finger extended and then brought his hand down as he whispered silently. Disappear, with the thunder, Kirin. And then the whole area erupted into a bright light. Naruto looked at his jutsu's effect and smiled before making his way home. Where his attack had connected with the earth was an enormous crater that had completely devastated the forest area and wiped everything out. Thanks for the food, old man, Naruto said cheerfully as he finished his 5th bowl of ramen at Ichiraku. No matter how much Kakashi had tried to change Naruto's bad habits, he could never get the boy out of his ramen addiction. Tucci, the owner of the bar, smiled at his favorite customer. The kid in him went way back and he loved Naruto like a son. Neither him nor his daughter Ayame had ever seen Naruto as the demon, and they would always serve him food when no one else would. Huh, you're welcome, ya little brat. But tell me, shouldn't you be with your team? Tucci asked as he took the bowls and started cleaning them. Naruto smiled as he closed his eyes and extended his chakra, sensing the people around him. He noticed Konohamaru and his friends hiding around the corner watching him intently. Well, since we've just gotten back we have some free time. Now that I think about it, the Chunin exams are coming up. Would be cool to become a Chunin so fast. Well, anyways, I think I'll go around Konoha for a bit. The weather is amazing. Naruto gave Tucci the money for the ramen and then headed out. All the way up to Konoha's graveyard, where he walked straight to the back where a humble gravestone was placed. Yo, Kakashi Nisan. It's been a while since I was last here. I had a mission to wave. I met a lot of amazing people there. And I received a new power. The Chunin exams are coming up. I bet we'll get entered, Naruto whispered to the gravestone. For a long time he just stared at the grave and then he spoke again. Well, I have to go now. See ya, Kaka Nisan. Naruto smiled sadly as he looked at the grave. He quickly manned himself up and turned around before shinning to the graveyard entrance right in front of a brick wall with holes in it. Konohamaru-kun? That's kinda obvious, you know. Quote, Suddenly the brick wall exploded in a bright light, revealing Konohamaru with his two best friends Udon and Moegi. All of them was on the ground coughing from the dust that the mini explosion had created. That was nothing. But as expected by the person that I admire. So how have you been, Aniki? Konohamaru yelled as he got back up on his feet. Naruto's sweat dropped. He then smiled. I've been fine, Konohamaru-kun. How about you? He asked. That's when Konohamaru noticed it. Ah, you don't have your headband over your eye. I thought you had lost that eye. Konohamaru exclaimed, loudly. Naruto winced at the loud voice. Geez, it's like talking to Sakura. Nope, it was more of a thing really, Naruto answered as he grabbed a senbon and started chewing on it. Konohamaru looked at him like he was crazy. Oh my god, Aniki, you're eating metal. No, Aniki has finally gone crazy. Relax, Konohamaru-kun, and observe. Remember, a shinobi must look underneath the underneath. Naruto proclaimed as he picked at the edge of the senbon and tore the metal off like paper, revealing a senbon-shaped chocolate. Konohamaru almost fainted from the awesomeness of what he had seen, and his friends wasn't much better off. Wow, hidden chocolate. But, why? Naruto smiled at the question as anime tears poured from his eyes. Well, you see, Hinata-chan won't let me eat any more chocolate. She says it's bad for me. But that's total bull. I mean, how can something that tastes so sweet be bad for me? Naruto asked dramatically as Konohamaru nodded sagely. Udon and Moegi just sighed at the two. It was funny how they had so much in common. Hey, Naruto-kun. Naruto turned to the voice and saw Sakura heading over towards him. He smiled. Even if she could be annoying, the two were good friends, and Sakura would always consult Naruto about her love problems with Sasuke. Yo, Sakura-chan, so how's it going with Sasuke-chan? He asked in his normal lazy voice with both his hands securely placed in his pockets. Sakura smiled at her brother-like figure. It's going really well. He's started to talk more often with me. Maybe we can even eat together sometime soon, she said excitedly. Naruto smiled at her happiness. Nay, Aniki? Don't tell me this girl. Is she your girlfriend? Konohamaru asked obliviously. Naruto just stared at him long and hard before speaking. Seriously, Konohamaru-kun? Sakura? Dude, I'm single, not desperate. This earned Naruto a smack over the head from Sakura. And what exactly is that supposed to mean? She asked as a demonic aura rose from her body, making the four people look at her nervously. Heh, no, nothing, Sakura-chan. I was just kidding, really. Oh really? That's good, isn't it? Sakura continued as she scared the four. In the instant she started moving. Naruto shouted, "Run for your lives!" And that they did. They dashed through the streets with a demonic Sakura just behind them, mumbling incoherent things. Konohamaru gained speed and turned sharply around a corner, only for the sound of something colliding to resound through the streets. Naruto turned around the corner in time to see Konohamaru getting lifted into the air by his scarf by a guy with purple makeup in the face and what looked like a pajamas with cat ears. Next to him was a beautiful blonde woman with her hair set up in 4 small ponytails and a huge fan on her back. She was wearing a black combat dress and was trying to calm down her partner. They both had Sanagakure headbands on. Naruto's gaze hardened when he saw that Konohamaru was getting strangled. Oi! I suggest you put down Konohamaru-kun before I do something you're gonna regret. Naruto said as he moved closer to the pajamas guy. He noted offhandedly that he was a good few inches taller than both Sun and Nen. The pajamas guy seemed pretty pissed off by his statement as he turned to glare at Naruto, only to recoil when he saw that Naruto's pupils had become slits. Who the hell do you think you are? He asked in an attempt to sound brave, but you could hear the fear in his voice. Naruto flashed him a crooked smile that made the blonde girl blush a bit. Suddenly Naruto was gone and Konohamaru had left the pajamas guy's grip. The Suna Nin's eyes widened when they felt Naruto behind them with Konohamaru in his arms. They turned with amazing speed to face him, but the instant they made it all the way around he was behind them again, walking towards Sakura, Udon and Moegi. He sat Konohamaru down and turned to face not the Suna Nins but the nearby tree. "Please come down, miss," he said kindly. Sand formed in a little whirlwind and then settled down, revealing a beautiful girl. She had long red hair that reached her mid-back, which was braided. Her face was cute but still held an aura of something dangerous, and why? Her eyes were a seafoam green with seemingly no pupils, and she had black rings around her eyes like a tanuki. She had the kanji for love on her forehead. She was wearing full-length dark trousers, a long-sleeved red coat with a flaring hemline, and a purplish-gray vest, same as Shippuden. Her body, despite obviously being at Naruto and Sakura's age, was quite enviable for any girl, and out of the corner of his eye, Naruto could see Sakura glancing at the redhead's bosom. Even so, she showed the same signs of malnourishment that Naruto also had. 6 years of starvation and living off trash had left irreversible damage to Naruto's body. Strange. Mother doesn't want me to kill you. Who are you, if I may inquire? The redhead spoke in monotone as she tilted her head and stared at Naruto. Naruto gave her a friendly smile back. The name's Hitaki Naruto, nice to meet ya, he said cheerfully. She nodded as she spoke. These are my siblings Kankuro and Temari. My name is Sabaku no Gaara. Only then did she notice that Kankuro had turned pale. Slowly he spoke. Hitaki Naruto, Sharingan no Naruto, the guy who single-handedly took down Momochi Zabuza, the demon of the mist. In a rank bordering on S-rank Nuke Nen. He also took down 100 trained mercenaries single-handedly. Holy shit. He looked at Naruto with only a small amount of fear, as it had been replaced with another emotion, awe. Naruto smiled at the boy no identified as Kankuro. You know about me? I'm surprised. Didn't think word would spread as far as Suna this fast. Well anyways, Kankuro-kun, Temari-san, Gaara-chan, I really need to get going. See you at the Chunin exams, ne? Naruto said as he smiled once again. He then turned and walked away with Sakura, Konohamaru, Udon and Moegi following. As Gaara stared at Naruto's retreating back, she felt something weird. He felt similar to her, but he radiated power like no other being she'd ever met before. Her vision flashed as she suddenly stood in her mindscape looking up at a giant tanuki which, despite its bestial features, looked strangely female. Suddenly the being morphed and shifted, turning into a beautiful woman. She had sandy blonde hair with blue streaks in it that went down to her lower back. She looked around the 25 and had what people would describe as a killer body. She was garbed in a dark blue kimono that just barely covered her breasts and stopped them from spilling out. She tilted her head as she looked at her host's face. Gaara-chan? What's wrong? You seem shaken. The answer she received was not what she expected. Shukaku-kasen, I just met a strange person. He's a Konoha shinobi. He felt like me, but he was ridiculously powerful. His chakra was cold like ice, yet it crackled like lightning. And when I tried to reach out to his chakra, it combusted into black flames. Shukaku frowned. She hadn't ever heard of such an unique chakra, and to be honest, it piqued her curiosity. It had to be someone special. And Gaara said that he felt like her. Was he perhaps a Jinchuriki? She thought it over and tried to remember who she had heard about that could have been sealed in a ninja from Konoha. She shook herself from her stupor and closed her eyes, flashing through Gaara's memories, finding the one with Naruto and watching it from the point where he grabbed Konohamaru from Kankuro. To say she was surprised would be a huge understatement. This mortal was fast to the point of it just not being funny anymore. She had trouble following his movements, yet she could feel he was holding back quite a bit. There was something else that bothered her as well. She could feel 2 Kekkei Genkei from him. She tried feeling his chakra, and then she suddenly realized just who this was. Gaara-chan. This kid is the container of Kyuubi Nisama, she exclaimed. Gaara's eyes widened almost comically. Another Jinchuriki like her? Shukaku off-handedly noticed that he was quite handsome. Then she noticed it some more. And some more. And then she started drooling and blushing profusely. It was probably because of Gaara's inexperience with boys that she hadn't yet noticed. Gaara's sweat dropped as she saw a blush spreading across her Biju's face. Shukaku looked at Gaara intently as she spoke. Gaara-chan, we need to have a little discussion about the concept of hot guys. Gaara's sweat dropped some more. Kankuro and Temari looked at their sister strangely. They knew she was talking to her Biju, but they had never seen her talking so peacefully. Shaking it off, they grabbed her and led her back to the place they were currently staying at. Kurenai sighed as she watched her best friend Anko devour plate after plate of dango with speed that she had only seen when Naruto got ramen. Anko noticed her friend's distress and spoke up. What's wrong, Kur-chan? You seem to drift off a lot. Don't tell me, you finally got a boyfriend. Kurenai almost showered Anko with her water. What? No. She blushed, sputtered out her answer. He doesn't really seem very convincing to me, Kuri-chan. Anko said in a teasing sing-song voice. So, who is it? I already told you, I don't have a boyfriend. Kurenai said as she went back to eating her own plate of dango. Oh wait. Anko had already devoured that as well. So who do you have a crush on? Anko continued with a sly grin. Kurenai was lost in thought and answered before she could think her words through. Naruto-kun. It was like time froze. Kurenai's eyes widened as she turned to look at Anko, who was smiling gleefully. In a blur, Kurenai knocked out Anko and used a memory wipe jutsu on her and then woke her up. Wow, what happened? And why does my head hurt? She asked as she looked suspiciously at Kurenai, who put on her best innocent bystander face and shook her head. I don't know, you just suddenly passed out. Kurenai smiled and paid for the food and then hurried away before Anko could ask her anything else. As she exited the dango stand, she heard a familiar voice call out to her. Yo, you look a tad flustered. She turned to face the person she saw as a brother. Hey Asuma, fancy meeting you here. Yeah, I was heading to the barbecue bar and I'm going to enter my team in the Chunin exams. Heard Guy and Yamato are planning to do the same. How's it going with your team? Or should I say, with Naruto-kun? Asuma said the last thing with a smile. Asuma and Kurenai had been best friends since the academy and were often together. Many misinterpreted this and thought they were lovers. This couldn't get further from the truth. They were like siblings and knew everything about each other. Sadly, this meant he also knew about her schoolgirl crush on Naruto. In the other end of Konoha, Naruto sneezed for what felt like the 10th time that day. Man, I must be popular. Be quiet. Kurenai blushed, as she continued. Anyways, I'm also entering my team into it. This'll be an exciting exam, huh? She asked as she looked at the sky. It had been unusually peaceful as of late. Asuma smiled. Kinda sucks for your kids, huh? Having to face and get defeated by my team? Asuma asked cockily. His team was good, but it wasn't hard to guess who the strongest rookie team was. Kurenai smiled at him. Your kids are indeed good. Naruto-kun himself praised your Nara and called him a genius, but my team is strong as well. Kurenai declared confidently. Now if you'll excuse me, I have to tell my team that I completely randomly and without regard for their safety have entered them into a contest that will most likely scar them for life or kill them. And then she left. Asuma stared after her. Isn't that breaking the fourth wall in a sense? Naruto said goodbye after finally prying Konohamaru off his leg, and shunned to the bridge where his teammates were waiting only to sweat drop. Shino was in the process of burying Kiba violently in the ground with a shovel and Hinata was desperately trying to stop Shino. What exactly happened here? Naruto asked as he got closer. Kiba here got his dog to urinate on my bugs. Shino spat with a great deal of anger in his normally emotionless voice. Naruto sighed. It was always like this. Kiba would do something extremely stupid. Shino would try to kill him and Hinata would try to solve the problem. Naruto summoned some water and splashed all over Shino's bugs and then used a low-level fire jutsu to dry them off. He then took a hold of Kiba and yanked him out of the ground much to his chagrin. Ouch, 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 that hurts like a bitch. Be more careful, will ya, Taicho? Kiba whined as he dusted himself off. It was your own fault, Kiba-kun, stop whining about it. Naruto told him. Hinata shot Naruto a grateful look before checking over her boyfriend and then lecturing him on proper behavior around other people. Thank you, Taicho, for saving my poor bugs, Shino said gratefully. Naruto smiled at him and then directed his attention to the other end of the bridge. So, what mission do we have today, sensei? He asked as leaves started swirling and then settled down, revealing Kurenai. She smiled at them. You have today off. I only wanted to tell you that I have entered you in the Chunin exams. Sign these papers and meet at classroom 301 at 4 p.m. tomorrow. Good luck. And with a smile that was directed more at Naruto than the others, she vanished. Naruto sighed as he waved at the others. See ya tomorrow, I guess? He was answered by 3 simultaneous nods and a bark. He shunshined away and appeared at the market district right in front of some Kumo ninja. He looked around and then yawned before getting a very secretive look on his face. Reaching into his pocket, he found a senbon and peeled off the metal to reveal the delicious chocolate. He happily munched on the chocolate until he suddenly had a sword to the neck. Following the blade, he found himself looking at a girl at about his age with long blonde hair that was braided. She had black eyes and she seemed very much like a cat. She also showed heavy signs of malnourishment. It didn't take a genius to find out that she too was a Jinchuriki. "Who the hell are you? Nibi-chan seems quite rattled by your appearance." Naruto stared long and hard at her. "I do get a lot of comments about my appearance, especially from girls," he said flirtatiously. "Anyways, the name's Hitaki Naruto, and yours?" She kept staring at him even when she answered. "My name is Ni Yugito." Naruto smiled at her. "I see, well, nice meeting you, Miss Ni," Naruto said as he moved to walk away only to find the blade poised at his throat again. Was there something I could help you with?" he asked again with a smile. Quote ellipsis. "What are you?" she asked in monotone. He seemed to think long and hard about it before answering completely seriously. "A sugar addict." Yugito face faulted. "That's not what I meant." She yelled at him. He just smiled sheepishly and reached for something in his pocket. She tensed and readied herself for an attack only to face fault again as he handed her a senbon. "Want some chocolate?" he asked cheerfully. She took it reluctantly and peeled off the metal and ate the chocolate. "Wah, this is really good," she purred. He smiled. "Well, I must be off, Miss Ni," and then he turned and walked away. Fast as lightning and before anyone could stop her, Yugito threw a kunai at his back, and not even a split second later the very same kunai was pressed against her neck and Naruto was standing behind her. "Wah, how the hell? Too fast. Too damn fast," Yugito thought. Her companions was stunned. Not even their master Kurabi was that fast, even when he used demon chakra. "How the fuck? Who is this guy?" the dark-skinned red-haired female thought. Her companion, also a dark-skinned person but male with white hair, was also stunned. Oh no. What if he moved so fast, he broke the sound barrier and created a temporal distortion? The fourth Kumo Nen, a fair-skinned blonde with ridiculously large breasts, was also shaken. "He's faster than a demon-enhanced Kurabi-sensei, who would be able to do that?" "Who?" Naruto smiled at Yugito as he handed her the kunai. "You know you shouldn't throw dangerous pointy things at people. Or at least not at innocent people. But then, how do you know which people are innocent and which people aren't?" I'm gonna have to think it over," Naruto said with a concentrated look as he walked off, leaving 4 confused Kumo Nen. Naruto kept walking without really looking and suddenly bumped into someone. He hurriedly apologized. "Sorry, I wasn't paying attention." "You okay?" he asked as he pulled up the person he had accidentally knocked over. The person was female and had short black hair and pupil-less pink eyes. She was wearing a long, red kimono with the sleeve on her right arm missing as well as the bottom left side of the kimono, fishnet tights and shorts over them. She took his hand as he pulled her up, but instead of letting it go she grasped it tightly and examined him closer. "This guy, where have I seen him before? He seems awfully familiar for some reason." He smiled at her. Is there something I can help you with, miss?" She smiled at him as she came to her senses. "Kuritsuchi. My name is Kuritsuchi, and who might you be?" she asked as she let go of his hand. "The name's Hitaki Naruto. Nice to meet ya," Naruto answered cheerfully and was then sent flying through the air only to land perfectly like nothing had happened. Miss Kuritsuchi? Did I say something wrong?" His answer was an eerie smile. "You're the guy that beat Momochi Zabuza, no? I'd like to see that strength for myself," she said as she charged. Naruto did the only thing a guy whose pride had just been challenged would do. He ran while screaming like a little girl. "I mean seriously, there's nothing as scary as an angry woman. I just lost all my female readers. If I have any." Finally, after several hours of fleeing, Naruto made it back to the safety of his home. Just so we're clear, he lives in Kakashi's house as he inherited all of Kakashi's belongings along with a small fortune. "I'm home," he yelled even though he knew he wasn't getting an answer. As lazy as ever he started cooking dinner. Amazing how the time flies by when you're running for your life. After dinner he went to bed. After all, he had a long day ahead of him. At the Inuzuka household, Inuzuka Hana laughed menacingly to herself as she looked at her work. "With this outfit, seducing Naru-kun will be easy." And then, she mumbled to herself incoherently as she drooled and a huge blush made its way onto her face. At Naruto's house, Naruto shivered as he laid in his bed. I sense a disturbance in the force, he thought as he fell asleep, only to wake up and see one of his tenants' big red eyes staring at him. He stared back in what felt like hours until finally the eye blinked and Kyuubi roared in rage. No, why can I never beat you in this? You never blink at all. To be beaten by a mere human. How shameful. Naruto smiled at the giant demon fox. Relax, Kyuubi-sama, you'll probably win one of these days. So, why did you call me here? Naruto reassured the demon lord as he turned his attention to his tenant. HMPH, easy for you to say. You always win. Anyways, I wanted to warn you about those two girls. Sabaku no Gaara and Ni Yugito. Both of them are demon containers. If I'm right, they probably contain the Ichibi and Nibi. Naruto looked at him suspiciously and then a perverted smile made its way onto his face. If those two demons like their hosts are female. Then, don't tell me you've. He trailed off as he grinned at the demon lord. Kyuubi deadpanned. I should never have let you read those Icha books, should I? But seriously, as Biju are like brothers and sisters. I see. Thanks for the heads up, now I think you need some sleep as well, Kyuubi-sama, we have a long day tomorrow. Naruto said as he slowly faded from his mindscape, leaving a fuming demon lord who instantly tried to figure out ways to win in their staring contest. At classroom 301 the following day, Naruto yawned lazily as he reached the classroom and noticed his team waiting. Raising a hand in a lazy greeting which was returned with much anxiety and nervousness, they went inside only to be greeted by a huge crowd of Chunin hopefuls gathered around the door leading to the classroom. Two boys that looked quite a lot older than the rest was blocking it. They had knocked down a kid in a green spandex suit with bowl-cut hair. When Naruto saw this, a devious smile appeared on his face. I see, good plan Lee-kun, now I know you might think it's cruel, but this is for your own good. The Chunin exams are super hard and every year people get killed. Not only that, it's seriously hard to pass, me and my friend here has failed it 3 times already. One of the two said as he looked at the genins and saw their faces of distraught and fear and smiled to himself. His evil smile was lost when Naruto greeted him. Yo Izumo-chan, Katetsu-chan, you guys riling up the kids? Shame on you guys, and not only that, you even put up a genjutsu to fool us. Naruto smiled at the two disguised Chunin as they gawked at him. Naruto, it's supposed to be a secret to test people. To see who's worthy. They roared at him as he just stared blankly back at them. Whoops, he said sheepishly as tick marks appeared on their faces. Wise as he was, Naruto decided to flee and his team was right behind him. After they'd left the raging Chunin behind and had headed to the second floor, Naruto suddenly turned and kicked only for his kick to impact with another leg and send the offender back down the hallway, revealing it to be the green-clad kid from before. Behind him stood a girl with her brown hair in 2 buns and a Chinese dress and a huge scroll strapped to her back. Beside her stood a beautiful girl with long brown hair wearing a traditional Hyuga robe. Her assets were, like Hinata's, quite large, and that was even with the robe covering most of her bust. Her Byakugan held a tint of gray-purple. She was glaring slightly at Hinata. Yo Lee-kun, long time no see, Naruto greeted the spandex-wearing boy as he took in the 3 people before him. His team looked surprised that he knew such a person. Yosh, it's good to see you again, Naruto-kun. And to see your flames of youth burning brightly as always. Lee exclaimed, making everyone sweat drop. Right, likewise. Naruto said as he tried finding an answer to the very energetic greeting. Fire seemed to ignite in Lee's eyes. Such a youthful greeting, Naruto-kun. Come, we must all hail youth. He screamed as he ran around in circles. Naruto took a few steps back. Okay, I guess it's best not to get smitten by his craziness. Suddenly Lee stopped and looked back and forth between his team and Naruto's team, and then he started screaming again. Oh no. I have failed you guys, sensei. I have forgotten to introduce my teammates. Such UNYOUTHFULNESS. I must be punished when the Chunin exams are over. And yes, I do know that it's all in caps. Remember, Lee is very energetic. The girl with the buns sighed and looked at her teammate while shaking her head. My name is Tenten and this is Hyuga Neji, she said as she pointed at the other Hyuga. The woman, now identified as Neji, shifted her gaze from Hinata to Naruto and they stared at each other. Suddenly, Naruto remembered the time. Oh crap, we gotta get to the exams, he exclaimed, which woke the other up from their staring contests. Naruto waved to Team Guy before following his team to the place the exams would be held. When they entered, they were instantly met with glares from about 150 genins, and Naruto easily recognized the Kumo nin and the girl that had chased him all day long. In the corner he noticed the red-headed beauty from the sand, staring intensely at him. He smiled at her and she hurriedly looked away. Well, I guess they'll let just about anyone in nowadays. The voice of one Uchiha Sasuke rang out. Naruto pretended he didn't hear him but just stared at Sasuke's hair, then he whispered to Kiba. Did that duck's ass just talk to us? He asked, making Kiba, Hinata and everyone in the vicinity laugh. Even the stoic Shino cracked a smile. Sasuke's face turned all different kinds of colors before settling on an angry red. One day, I'm gonna kill you, he said as he glared at Naruto, to which Naruto just smiled kindly. Silly Sasuke-chan, that'd mean you were stronger than me. Sasuke glared once again. Behind him came Sakura and Sai. Sakura smiled at Naruto, and when their eyes met they went into LDTM, love discussion telepathy mode. How's it going with Sasuke-chan? It's going really well. We studied together before we came here. He said he wanted to be sure he was ready for anything. I know he just said it to get some alone time with me. Came the optimistic response from Sakura. Naruto's sweat dropped. If that's what she wants to believe, he thought. He nodded to Sai and then noticed the other rookie teams from their class heading towards them. They greeted each other and started talking amongst themselves about what they had done since becoming genin. Suddenly they were approached by another Konoha genin. You know, you shouldn't be so loud. Everyone is a bit on edge at the moment. Sasuke glared at him. Who the hell are you? He asked rudely. The boy smiled disarmingly at him. My name is Yakushi Kabuto. I'm a Konoha genin like you. The exams are hard and I just wanted to give you some advice. It's my 4th year here, you know. That's how hard it is. Most of the Konoha genin looked surprised and frightened. Because you're my cute juniors, I'll help you out a bit. These are my nin info cards. I have information on everyone in this room, so ask away. Kabuto said as he withdrew the cards and showed them. Sasuke decided to speak up. Hatake Naruto. Naruto rolled his eyes in annoyance. Kabuto smiled as he glanced at Naruto. Here it is. He was about to reveal Naruto's stats when Naruto quickly cut through the card. Scary, because no one had noticed him move, draw or unsheath his sword. I believe I'll keep my abilities a secret just a little while longer, ne Kabuto-san? He said with a smile. Then he whispered into Kabuto's ear so only he could hear. Be careful, Snake-kun. You smell pretty bad. Oh, and give Orochi-chan my regards, would ya? Kabuto paled visibly. One of the Iwa nin scoffed, and along with his team he started pouring killer intent out towards the Konoha nin. Sakura gasped as the ki rushed over them like a wave, smothering them. The only ones who wasn't affected was Naruto's team and Sai. Sasuke was a bit shaken but managed to hide it. Kiba chuckled slightly. This ki is nothing compared to Zabuza's or Haku's. Naruto smiled in agreement. Now, how about I show this guy what true ki is? Naruto thought. And then, he let loose hell on earth. All sounds were blocked out as the air around Naruto warped and twisted. The Iwa team fell to their knees panting, with huge beads of sweat pouring down their faces as they looked at him in fear. Several other teams started panting and sweating. The Kumo team were shocked, as were the girl from yesterday and the Suna nins. This was so different from the goofy carefree person they'd met yesterday. Omoi and Karui were sweating and Samui was panting. Yugito clutched her chest as the Nibi screamed in fear and respect inside her cage. Yugito-chan, I was right. This level of ki is terrifying, but it's still human. But I can feel the being resonating within him. He's a Jinchuriki, I don't know which. But it's strong. Yugito's eyes widened almost comically. This guy is like me? She only ever knew one other person like her. That was her friend and Sensei Kurabi. Kuritsuchi smiled viciously, even as sweat poured down her face. She had been disappointed when she'd met him the other day. She had thought that it was a mistake. That someone must have lied about him beating Zabuza. But with ki like this? It was insane. Hee. This'll be a fun exam. Gaara smiled slightly psychotically as her sand danced around her feet, writhing and snaking as a dying animal. The Ichibi shook in her cage. It's this strangely familiar feeling. He's definitely Kyuubi Nisama's Jinchuriki, she concluded. Naruto's voice rang out cold and unforgiving. What? I hope this isn't the limit of what you can take. This is only 1/3 of my ki. Most of the genin looked at him in fear until a boot came flying through the air and hit him straight on. Everyone turned to look at Morino Ibiki as he glared at Naruto. Hitaki, cut that out. I don't want you mentally scarring the new blood this early. Many genin smiled appreciatively before paling when he spoke again. Before I can. This made most of the people's sweat drop at the scarred interrogator before noticing that the pressure had disappeared. Sorry Scarface-chan, I got carried away, Naruto said. He glared one last time at the shaking Iwa team before sighing and listening to Ibiki. Alright, maggots. Now you'll have a test to examine your knowledge. We can't have morons parading about as Chunin. Naruto whispered to Kiba. Then what are Katetsu and Izumo doing here? Kiba snickered. After explaining the rules and taking their seats, the exam was started. Naruto read the test over. I see. What a mean test, he thought as he instantly saw through it. He cast an intricate genjutsu with his hands under his table and then activated his Sharingan. He located a Chunin in disguise and copied him. He then activated second part of his master plan called, "Screw everyone over with your totally awesome cheating abilities." Yeah, I know, he likes long names. Telepathy technique. Naruto whispered as he reached out with his chakra and connected with the people he wanted the jutsu to affect. Smiling as he felt the familiar chakra of Hinata, Kiba and Shino. He closed his eyes and focused on them. Hey you guys, it's me Naruto. Don't freak out, I'm speaking to you through our chakra. Listen, all of these questions are way too hard for any genin, except Sakura to answer. This is without a doubt an information gathering test. We need to use our special skills to gather info from the Chunin placed around the room. Normally I give you the answers, but look at this as another one of your tests from me. Now snap to it. Team 8 immediately initiated plan. Screw everyone over with your totally awesome cheating abilities. Naruto noted that many of the other genin had finally realized what the test was about. His experienced eyes darted around the room as he watched the other ninjas. When the allotted time was over, Ibiki spoke up. Alright maggots, now it's time for the 10th and final question. Ibiki explained the rules. Needless to say, most of the ninjas were shocked. What the hell? This is ridiculous. There are guys here who's on their 2nd and 3rd year. Hell, even their 4th. Ibiki chuckled in a very maniacal way. That might be, but this year it's my exam and my rules. Silence befell the classroom as many people started raising their hands. I quit. Sorry guys, I can't do this. Suddenly the 150 genin had been reduced to 75. Ibiki smiled. The rest were still nervous and many of them was shaking, trying to hold back the urge to quit. Then he noticed Naruto and instantly his cold, superior interrogator mask fell in favor of an annoyed one. Hitaki, what the hell are you doing? Everyone turned to see Naruto slumped across his table sleeping. Ibiki had a huge tick mark at the back of his head as he searched for something sharp to throw at Naruto. When he couldn't find anything, he settled for throwing his chalk. Right before it would have hit him, Naruto waved his hand and the chalk was sliced to dust before reaching its target. As if to insult him further, Naruto yawned loudly. Sup Scarface-chan? He asked, annoyed that he'd been woken up. Ibiki just stared dumbfounded at him. Quote ellipsis. You little brat, I'm in the middle of explaining the 10th question. Ibiki roared as everyone's sweat dropped. Naruto sighed annoyed as he waved Ibiki off. Yeah, that's nice, now would y'all be quiet? I mean seriously, even if we don't become Chunin we can advance to Junin just as easy. Besides, I think I'm gonna aim for the Hokage title. You know, to rub it in everyone's faces. So not becoming Chunin wouldn't really be that much of a blow to me. Oh, it would be funny to kick Junin ass as a genin anyway. Naruto said offhandedly. The effect was instantaneous. The people who'd been unsure of what to do was now smiling confidently at each other. Ibiki smiled amusedly. This brat wiped away all of their worries just like that, huh? It seems this year will be interesting. Alright then, y'all rejects. You all pass, he said with a huge smile. Everyone's sweat dropped as they thought collectively. His personality totally changed. What the hell is this? Just like that? Sakura screamed surprised. Ibiki explained the reasons and the meaning behind the 10th question. Suddenly he perked up as a black thing attached to 4 kunai crashed through the window. The kunai spread out in the room, revealing it to be a banner reading, "The examiner of the second test, Why Snake Mistress Mitarashi Anko." A loud thud was heard on the wall just outside the window, and then a female voice screaming, "Oh my god, my nose. Damn it, that hurt like hell." Everyone's sweat dropped as Anko crawled through the window with the imprint of a wall on her face. She was grumbling about stupid exams and retarded classroom locations. She looked around and glared at everyone and everything before speaking. Training ground 44, follow me now. Speak and I'll gut ya. And with that she jumped through the window. Everyone was left staring at the place where she left before they scrambled and ran full power to try and keep up with her. Naruto sighed as he stood from his seat and Shino, Kiba and Hinata approached him. Space warped around them as they were sucked into his Kanpeki Sharingan. Anko had just arrived at the training ground when she saw the space rift and then Team 8 appearing from within it. She could have sworn that one of the kids' eyes were red, but when she looked again she saw only blue and green. Shaking her head, she turned back and waited for the rest to arrive. Once they did, they noticed that Naruto's team were already there. Ibiki collected the exam papers as he reached Naruto's. The hell is this? He thought out loud as he read the note. Dear Scarface-chan, I just wanted to tell ya that Yakushi Kabuto has the stench of snakes all over. I am the same kind as that man. Ya might want to tell the Hokage. For now it would be best if ya didn't tell Anko-chan about it, she'd freak. Love, Hitaki Naruto. Peas, you seriously need to get laid. Ibiki crushed the note in his hand as he left to report to the Hokage. People jumped left and right to avoid him as he had a tick mark the size of the Hokage tower and a dark and very scary aura was coming off of him. Anko sighed when everyone arrived as she explained the rules. She noticed Naruto wasn't paying attention and in annoyance she threw a kunai at him before appearing behind him and grabbing the kunai. She would have cut his cheek if it wasn't for the water that sprouted out of nowhere and formed a barrier in between them. Everyone stared, not believing what they'd seen. Had he just pulled water out of nowhere? Anko glared at him as he smiled innocently back. She jumped back to make some distance. That was unexpected. Seems like you aren't just a cute face boy? She asked as she smiled at him. He stared back. Rapist. He deadpanned as she yelled at him. The hell is that supposed to mean? Calming herself down, she finished the explanation and gestured for each team to grab a scroll. Naruto examined their heaven scroll as he looked over his 3 teammates plus 1 dog. All of them seemed nervous. Kiba's usually loud and confident personality was gone. Hinata was showing signs of insecurity again, and even Shino couldn't hold his impassive mask much longer. Naruto smiled at them. Listen all of you, we're gonna make it through this. All of you are strong. You've grown way much since we became a team. Kurenai-sensei said so as well. As long as we stick together we're gonna be fine. Besides, I don't let my comrades die, alright? He finished with a smile. They all smiled back at him, their confidence restored. They shifted their attention to Anko. And with that I hereby begin the second test.
That's all for now. If you want to see next part, then please like this video and subscribe my channel. Thank you.